Hello, friends.
I'd like to exchange an egg. Do you know what I'd do if I want to exchange one egg?
Look, I hate you both. Never talk to me again.
Down, doobie, doo, down, down. Comma, comma.
Hey there, Beverly Hills 90210 fans. Oh my God. It's been 30 years, and there have been totally amazing memories.
It doesn't matter what you say about somebody once they're gone. What matters is how you treat them when they're still here.
He just gets to me. He always gets to me.
You walk away from me right now, things will never be the same.
I've made my choice, and I choose me. See, I like him. And if any of you have a problem with that, well, it's too bad.
Sorry, Carl.
And now it's time to dive deep into the most incredible stories from your favorite zip code with your host, Charles Rosin.
Did I say that?
Larry Mollin.
Thing about the real person, and we're going, what? We're getting rid of this guy.
And Pete Ferriero.
And growing up, my TV crush is Claire Arnold. So she has to come on the show at this point.
Plus many special guests. Actually, there are so many we couldn't even list them. So sit back and get ready because it's totally time for the Beverly Hills 90210 Super Show.
Welcome to paradise, man. Welcome to your dream come true.
Well, here we are. We are here on the Beverly Hills 90210 Super Show. Hey, Chuck, what were you doing 30 years ago today?
I was at Darren Star's house with the rest of the writing crew. It was my dad's birthday, and it was a big existential moment for me to say, Dad, I've got to watch a TV show.
Yeah.
And we went there, and what did you serve, Darren?
Wow, now you're going back. I remember. I can't remember what I served, but I do remember. I think I got some great cake from this local bakery, Sweet Lady Jane, which is still
Sweet Lady Jane, yes.
It's still this big bakery, and in fact, I'll tell you a funny memory. I went to that bakery months ago, probably right before this whole coronavirus hit, and I told the woman behind the counter, because I hadn't been there for so long, I said, you know what? I was here almost 30 years ago. I got a cake for the premiere of Beverly Hills 90210. And I think she was Jane's sister. And she said to me, I was on the show for an episode.
Well, Chuck, I know you've got some questions for Darren. Let's just hop right into this. What do you want to know from Darren 30 years later?
Well, first of all, I got to just acknowledge 2020. It's a great weekend for you. You're not, you're remembering one show and debuting the other. We've watched Lily, and congratulations. Excuse me, Emily. I call it Lily because
Emily.
That woman you're working with is very appealing.
She's awesome.
And congratulations, and Younger's coming back. But looking back at the pilots and some of the things you did, here you are, and you're talking, you're working with Darren Spelling, and you're getting this done. But there were other players in the mix. There was Propaganda. There was this young Fox television station, group, and then a strong director. So what was that like, juggling all of that as a first-time writer?
Well, I feel like what we had, which was so important, was the script and the cast. And we had a director, Tim Hunter, who was sort of known for darker material. I think he was, a very well-respected director. I think he did a lot of great. He made a wonderful contribution to the pilot. He had a lot of style. Propaganda was a big music video house. They were very cutting edge, and I think they thought that by wedding these sort of this production arm to Darren Spelling, they would get sort of this invigorate. They would sort of invigorate the style of the show and the production. But I kind of feel like none of them felt very intrusive to me. It just sort of I feel that Tim got really nice performances from the actors, and I thought the show looked great. And Propaganda, you were there, you remember? They were kind of as the year went on, they were sort of sidelined because I think Fox and Spelling realized they didn't really need another sort of music video house coming in and trying to show him how to produce a show.
That's right, because they and also
you remember it?
absolutely, I do. I remember we once in our travails trying to get the show on, we were actually running the show out of their editorial in the back of Twin Peaks. So
They were all and they were also doing Twin Peaks. Yes, I remember.
yeah, so we go really far back. But you know, in talking about the pilot, right, Pete? I mean, that's what we're really doing. I don't, wasn't there, so I'm always, and I'm so happy you're here to talk about it. And you really should talk about it with people who were there, right?
So how about some of these people?
What's that? Jason Priestley. Oh my God.
Oh, Darren. Hey, Darren.
Great to see you. You look awesome.
How about
brother? You look very well.
How about this person?
Jennie. Oh my.
Hi, Jennie.
Jennie. How about this person?
What?
I'm gonna cry.
Wait a minute. How about this person?
Oh my.
And how about this person?
Tori,
Hi.
Oh, hey, everybody. I didn't know it was live.
Hello.
We have to clap our hands.
I'm so excited to
Tori.
see everybody. I'm crying.
Same here. I'm not crying, no, but
I am.
You're a crier, Gab.
I know. I'm so
Hi,
happy
Jen.
for your new show, Darren.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
awesome to see you.
By the way, I've not seen you guys, spoken to you guys. For a while, I loved the show you did on Fox. I thought it was brilliant. I thought you guys were so damn good. I mean, I loved it, and I know like Chris and Mike so well. They told me they were doing it. I said it sounded like so amazing, and I thought it was like so good. I like gobbled it up. And they made a huge mistake. I wanted to see.
We've got our messages to you, Jennie, through circuitous routes. How much we love the show, often because we got all the references. So it was great. But seriously, I thought you and Tori were so brave, and really love that. And now you're doing one of these podcasts, so you're really brave.
Thanks, Dan.
Congratulations
Hi,
on that.
Jason. Thanks,
Hey, Darren, while we have them all here, what was it like working with this group of this cast 30 years ago?
First of all, we can't say 30 years ago because that means we must have been they must have been like
I was 5.
6, 7. I was 12. I mean, like, it's just, but it was amazing. I mean, I just felt like we were just like having fun. We didn't know what we were doing. I don't think we didn't have like these gigantic expectations for what was going to happen to the show, right, guys? I mean, we were just like doing it, and it almost like until Jason got cast, it almost didn't happen. It was like you got cast at the 11th hour. I do remember that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like literally, like the Friday before we were going to start filming it was like Jason was cast, and it was like if we didn't cast. If we didn't find that role, if Jason wasn't cast, it was like they weren't going to make it. So, thank you, Jason.
All I remember is
Thank you,
meeting
Jason.
everybody for the first time at Aaron's house when everybody was together for the first time. That was.
Hey, Jason, what was it like working with Darren all those years ago?
You know what it was? It was awesome. Darren and I, our professional paths have crossed a couple of times since then, but not often enough. It's so nice to see Darren. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Chuck, talking about that night that we all gathered at Darren's house to watch the premiere. It was super cool, and I remember that night. I remember. Here's the funny thing. I remember the Porsche you had just bought, your Porsche 968, your convertible. That's that's.
When I got the money that I made from writing the pilot, I basically paid cash for a car. I thought if nothing happens with the show, at least I'll have this car.
Right.
How about you, Jennie, working with Darren all those years ago on this thing?
Hi, Darren. First of all,
hi, Jennie.
Sorry, my dogs are barking.
It's cool. It's
I mean, what a dream!
Gorgeous, by the way, you look so.
You
great.
look gorgeous.
Beautiful, Jennie Garth.
Listen to me. Thank you so much. It was so much fun doing our show. I mean, geez, right, guys? What a blast we all had, and such great memories, and so many beautiful friendships and bonds made that will never, ever, ever sever. So I think what a beautiful opportunity it was, and also to be able to I worked with Darren later on another show, which was really fun too.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, how about you, Ian? All those years back, working with these guys.
You know, Darren and I crossed paths a little bit, but it was more like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He was always in a rush to get his scripts in or his ideas in. He really wasn't working on the set where we were. They had other offices. So there really wasn't much exchange with the writers and producers as much as I would have liked. I think back then we were all really pinching ourselves because of what was happening. You know, we were all really young, and it was growing faster than anybody could have even imagined. I mean, we all hoped for the best at the time, but the fact that it, you know, after that first season, I think it's when Brenda lost her virginity, that it became like a rocket ship ride. You know, we saw the writers less and less for those first couple of years because they were scrambling. Often we would have 32 episodes a year, which meant they probably never saw daylight.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, really, really great times. Hey, Darren, just wondering, I know that Chuck told me last night that one of the things that was most important to you was to make sure that the teenage experience was always captured on the show. I think you nailed that. Was that super important to you all the way back then?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of how I pitched the show to Fox. When I spoke to them, I thought the show was like 30-something. It was all about that group. It's a show that I loved. And I thought it was all about sort of just examining, you know, the emotional lives of those characters. And I felt like John Hughes was doing it on film and movies like The Breakfast Club, really kind of being really truthful to the emotional experience of his characters. I felt like it hadn't been done on television. So that's sort of how I talked about the show to Fox.
Very cool.
I remember Darren when we first started. So meeting Darren, and you know, you were so excited. You were as excited as we were. It was like this moment. You would say, like, "How does it feel? What is it like?" Like you wanted to be like right in with it, what was going on. You were always hands on, really wanting to hear actually everybody's experience with each other. That was really key. How are you experiencing the world? Are you? How does it feel as the show was like starting to become known? You would ask, how does that feel? What is it like?
I remember going, you know, because it wasn't really like a huge hit out of the gate. And I remember going with the cast. It was big in like the UK, and the cast. I don't know if you guys remember this. We got some award in the UK, and I went with the cast because I thought I want to see like fans of the show, because I didn't feel like we had a lot in the States at the very beginning, and then they were everywhere in the UK.
That was I think of everything that's ever happened. That was what I was most envious of. He went where? Where is he? He's in London?
Yeah.
You know, Tori's trying to get on. Is there a way to get Tori on?
Yeah, what's going on with that? I see that she keeps trying to pop in. Yeah.
She's been on the whole time. We just can't see her or hear her.
I know, it's a black screen. That's horrific.
Sorry, just wanted to see if there's something you guys can do.
Jenny, why don't you talk? You've done that before. What would Tori be saying right now?
She's panicking right now, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Lighting
Tori.
up my phone.
Don't worry, girl.
You know what's actually really exciting, guys, that Tori and Jenny are going to be doing a podcast too. I'm super pumped for this. You know, you guys know I adore the both of you, and I'm super excited for you guys. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing on the podcast?
We don't know yet. I mean, we're just launching it. It's going to be a rewatch podcast
Very cool.
for iHeartRadio, and we are so excited to get started. I think we start recording next week, and we debut the 9th of November.
It's very, very
good.
Yeah.
Okay, Biden will be president by then. Excellent.
So it's going to be so much fun. We're going to relive all the episode by episode. We're going to go through the show, and I'm hoping to remember something from every episode. That's my goal, is to just remember anything, really.
and on the other side of that, Tori remembers every single detail.
We're a perfect match because, she remembers everything. I remember nothing. So hopefully we will make it interesting and fun for people to listen to.
Good luck.
Hey, we're gonna say goodbye to Darren for now. Thank you for hopping in with us.
Guys.
I have some
Take
questions.
care, Darren. Great.
Thank you for the show.
So good to see you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
All right.
So good.
Julie in Paris.
I'm curious for you guys. Was there a moment during the series when you guys were like, oh my God, this is going to be a thing. This show is actually, we're going to make it. This is going to be a thing. Was there a particular moment like that for any of you? Ian, maybe?
You know, I came to the set driving a Acura Integra that had my name on the license plate, but it was spelled EYEAN. And
I remember that.
I can't
song,
get
man.
people to fucking remember my name properly. I had to put it on a damn license plate. So I would start to get followed. Like, oh my God, I'd get finger pointing. Like, what the hell's going on here? It became, they associated me, and that was validating what it was. And, you know, that was all in the first year where it started to smolder. But then I think it was at, you know, when Shannon lost her virginity, that spring dance episode. And then
Brenda.
When Brenda. Shannon was much younger.
That was a very important distinction.
Yeah, well, and then, you know, the summer episodes we did right after that, it was like a pile driver. It really lit the fuse.
Yeah. How about you, Jason?
Me?
Yeah, like when did you
know?
When did you know it was something?
It was the summer episodes that the reality of it really started to sink in for me. Because before that, I was
looking for another job.
Well, I'm always looking for my next job, but I was blissfully unaware of what was happening out there. I mean, this was 30 years ago, right? It was before the internet. It was before all of those.
Right.
Things, right. So I was just focusing on the work that we were doing and trying to, working with Chuck and trying to like make the scripts as good as they could be. And like, we were like in total work mode, and we weren't focusing on what was happening outside of our little bubble on the set at all. But it wasn't until when those summer episodes hit and we actually saw the numbers spike on our show that I think we all understood that maybe something.
How about you, Jenny? Was there a moment for you?
No, not that I remember, but like Jason said, yeah, during the summer episodes, the beach club episodes, shit got crazy. Like I couldn't go to the store. It just all of a sudden it hit like a ton of bricks that our lives were changed forever.
Yeah.
We knew that because we didn't get a hiatus. We were so okay. You got picked up for next year, and guess what? You have 2 weeks off.
Yeah,
right.
Actors did get longer.
We got 8 weeks, which was the absolute minimum they could give us, right?
We got 2 weeks off, so we had a newborn.
No,
hold on, but happy to get it. Happy to take it in.
No question.
For you, Gabrielle, was there a moment?
Well, first of all, definitely the summer episodes were the breakthrough. And when I really realized it was when I was in the mall with Charlie shopping, and like people started running, and it was my neighborhood, Westfield Mall. It was like never had been like that. And I think that was like oh my God, what's going on? So we were working so much that we never saw it, because we were on the set all the time working. Once going out after the summer episodes, that's when it really, really became wow.
Yeah. Hey, Ian, we're all really super excited for Tuesday. Swamp Thing, right?
Thank you.
Swamp Thing. I'm pumped about that. Tell me about Swamp Thing. What's going on with Swamp Thing? We're excited, man.
It was originally on the DC Universe, a streaming app. Didn't get enough eyeballs on it, really. It's still available there, but because there's such a demand for content, there's such a slowdown in production. The CW network, which is owned by Warner Brothers, coincidentally owns DC, picked up the 10 episodes, reconfigured them for television, and we air with a 90-minute premiere on Tuesday night. It's startling, to tell you the truth. It's top of the food chain film production. They spent $150 million on these 10 episodes, and the money's very obvious. The practical effects, the production staff, shooting with 3 cameras nonstop. It was like every department had a special ops,
right?
And they all came together to work with directors that are used to making $100 million blockbusters. it's going to be a real treat for the people that are into science fiction and horror, especially. And I'm super excited.
What character do you play, Iron? What do you play?
I play the Blue Devil. He's a stuntman who makes a deal with the Phantom Stranger, and within DC folklore, the Phantom Stranger, you don't know if he's God or the devil, but he makes a deal with this guy and gets the lead role in exchange for having to stay in this town of Moray, Louisiana, to protect a woman who is yet to be seen. And it's about 8 years that he's confined to town, and finally he rescues her and thinks he can leave, but there's more rescuing to be done, but he has to transform into a demon, the Blue Devil. And it, the suit probably was $500,000 in design.
So there are no sharks in the swamp.
No sharks in the swamp. This is grounded in reality.
But you're a demon?
Reality. I play a demon, but he uses his powers for good.
Grounded in reality.
He uses his powers for good instead of evil.
Poor
It's a lot
Tori.
of fun. I get to play a superhero, so the 8-year-old boy in me is very excited about that.
Um,
We'll see where it goes. Thanks for mentioning it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, was there ever? Is there any storyline for you, each of you, that like you really connected with? During the process of this show. How about Ian? Was there something you were just like, man, I'm so happy I'm doing this story?
I want to put this on Chuck.
There you go.
I want to know if Chuck, did you get paid for that personal service announcement where Steve Sanders had like go shout from the top of the hill about having skin cancer or something like that? Because that seems so incongruous with what we were doing. Though I thought that it was pertinent, it just seemed to be so heavy-handed. I kind of felt there was a corporation behind that.
It must have happened in season 6, dude. I don't know anything about your skin cancer.
Okay.
No offense, Larry.
Not me.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I thought you were going to talk about a very cute girl. But we're going to talk about her. I just saw the other night and was remembering telling you, Ian, be prepared. They're going to boo when you did the shot at the Forum and you walked out, and we were in the half-court shot. We were in Laker country.
Oh yeah.
Inglewood's not close to Beverly Hills, and you won them over by you almost made both shots.
I know. I practiced for a week, knowing that script was coming, knowing I was going to have an opportunity to throw a half-court shot during a game. They set up a backboard for me at the set, and at lunchtime I just was out there. Jason, you went out there with me a couple times, just throwing balls, and I hit the rim both times, and it was really exciting. But at the end,
and they loved
I
you.
like I hit it.
The
coolest
There's
thing in that whole episode was
there's nobody
I make
that
the
Ian
shot.
can't win over.
I make the shot theoretically, and then we're done with production. I like go into the men's room there by the Forum Club, and I'm bellied up next to Jack Nicholson, and he looks over and says, "Nice shot, kid."
Wow. Oh man,
that's worth the whole thing.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I paid Jack actually to say that.
What about for you, Jenny? I feel like you had some really wild storylines, from the cult to the cocaine. Was there anything that you were just like, okay, that's too much?
I mean, I can't even name them all. Shot.
Yes.
Burned. Almost raped.
Yes.
Drugs.
Diet pills.
Brainwashed
by a cult leader.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then I found out I worked in like a hospital.
Yes.
You wanted to do everything.
There was the girl Tara who was stalking
the
Tara.
leaders, they're all around.
Oh yeah, you were stalking.
Tara was stalking you. Remember that?
Yeah. I guess they realized. I guess you guys realized that I could cry or something on camera. I don't know. Like I got a lot of emotions in me.
Jason, what about you? Was there any one particular storyline that you were just like, "Hey, this is an awesome one. I'm down to do this."
This is an awesome one.
Hey Jay, here's one. Jay, I put you on skates.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, the one hockey episode. Yeah, that was fun because I actually got to play.
That was just had to do it. I mean, we had this whole hockey team. We never saw them again, but at least one episode I could
That's
get
right.
you.
And at least that episode, I got to play hockey with Cam Neely, which was
that was in season 6. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cam's
All
an
right.
awesome guy, and yeah, we had a lot of fun, Cam, that day. But no, I mean, the show was a wonderful experience, I think, for all of us, and we all had a great time working there. And I think that all of the things that we were all asked to do week in and week out, I think were some episodes were better for our characters, for others, and other episodes weren't so great. But it didn't matter. You know what I mean? We were all part of a troupe, and we were all there to support each other, and we all did whatever we needed to do to keep the show moving forward and hopefully be successful. And I think we were all happy to do that.
Absolutely. Hey, Gabrielle, what about you? Is it the gentle art of listening, the hotline story, or what is it?
I'm like Jenny. I don't remember the stories. For me, I said this before because I did the show before you guys. I was on. I loved being able to speak for the graduation. You know, because again, Jason was the one they were going to do, and I said that's not fair. You have to let Andrea do that. I really wanted to be able to do it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Chuck's going. He doesn't remember that.
No, I do.
I don't remember that at all. That's very anti-feminist of me and be surprising, but I'll take it. If that's what would happen, I'll say it.
All right. You were like, well, we were thinking maybe Jason. I said, Andrea's really, why shouldn't she have that opportunity? And you guys did it. It was great. But
and you were great at it. And she wrote it funny. You couldn't remember it, so that was all Karen.
No, I related to Andrea. He related to Brandon.
I don't know.
Sometimes Andrea would win. It's.
I love all the stuff I did with everybody. It was a great time, but I don't remember the shows. I was like, when I watched a couple of them, I told you last time, I was like, oh, I didn't know I did that.
I know.
What's fascinating about Andrea is that back in the day she was sort of like the brainy outcast. Today she would be the hero. She would be the one that all the girls are aspiring to be. Don't you think? Yeah.
I don't know. I think each one of our characters actually had something that everybody wanted to be. I've been with people who've said, "Oh my God." I really identified with Andrea. I saw myself as you. Absolutely. Jenny. Absolutely. Like I want to meet Jenny. She's exactly how I see myself. From Tori, Jason, all of us, I think, have people who really identify with our characters. But I think I'm proud. I told you, I'm very proud of Andrea as a character. I think she was a really super fabulous character for young women to aspire to, and men. And I think that it's a great legacy for me.
All right, Jenny, I'm gonna ask you now. Fans are gonna want to know: Kelly Dillon or Brenda Dillon? Where do you land on this controversy? The whole show on the triangle. I'm curious where you land. What couple belongs
right in the middle?
Yes. Which couple do you think is the couple that belongs together? Is it the Kelly? There's a lot of Kelly and Dillon fans, and there's a lot of Brenda and Dillon fans.
Well, and then also Brandon and Kelly. Don't forget the
right.
End of it, circular around the other way.
Yeah, I mean,
just choose yourself. Yeah, just choose me, and then you're fucked. Choose you, and then you're
That's
done.
what we did, yeah. We kicked it down the road a
I
bit.
think maybe Kelly and Brandon belong together.
There you go.
Well, I think it was Andrea.
I'm there. I think so too.
Well, hey guys, there's somebody else that wants to join us here. How about
there he is.
Hey,
there.
Oh my God! Happy anniversary! Come on, Tori, you can do
it.
And
nope.
Oh, and Carol. Oh my God.
And Carol, everybody's
and I couldn't get on. Oh.
Hey Tori, how are you? All okay in the internet land there?
Nope.
Nope.
Perfect. This is just like perfect.
Everybody's.
Hey, Jason, for you, we have James and Carol here. How important were was James and Carol, Jim and Cindy, to the mix of this show?
Can you hear me? Yes.
We hear you.
Very important.
Very important.
Jason, do you hear me? I'm sorry. How important was Jim and Cindy to the show?
Who are you asking?
Jason.
You want me to answer?
Jason. No, Jason.
I was looking for Chuck to answer that one.
James and Carol, aka Jim and Cindy, were incredibly important through the first 4 seasons of the show. I mean, you know, they were the heads of the family, of the familial center of the show, and they were a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
You know, like my daughter now, who is a fresh teenager, likes to watch the show. Likes to watch the show with me, and so I've been revisiting the show through her eyes, and I'd kind of forgotten, you know, because as the years went on, Jim and Cindy, you know, we all grew up and became adults, and you know, when you become adults, your parents become a lesser influence in your life. So that's what happened on the show. But as I've been watching the early seasons of the show with my daughter, I all of a sudden remembered what a huge part of the show Jim and Cindy were.
Yeah.
And how unbelievably important they were as actors, and how they grounded the material that we were doing. I mean, Jim, Carol, you guys were you know, you guys were like the you know, as much as you know, as much as Brandon was supposed to be the, you know, the rock in the middle of all the craziness, you guys were the rock that secured the rock within all the craziness, right?
They were the real adults in the room.
Yeah, you guys really were, and you know, and as we've all witnessed these last 4 years, one thing you need is adults in the room.
I'm still looking. Oh,
whatever you need.
Hey, Tori, how's it going? I tried.
She's on mute right now. She's got to be on mute.
I think that's Tori's headshot.
Her headshot.
Okay.
It's the real Tori. She's just so still. What?
Yes.
No. What?
I've never heard of this quiet. I'm really enjoying it.
So nice to see you all.
Jenny.
Tori, you got to unmute. You got to unmute your mic, Tori, so at least we can hear you.
I can see you, but I can't hear you. It's like
She's
Christmas
good.
morning.
You guys, this is okay. I'll start again though. Hi, Chuck. Hi, Karen. Hi, Larry. Hi, Pete.
Hi.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Carol. Hi, Jean. Hi, Gab.
Hi.
Hello, Tori. Hey, Tori, tell us about the podcast.
I'm so excited to be on this podcast with you guys.
Tell me about your podcast that's coming up. I'm super excited for it. 9021 OMG.
Yeah, well, you know.
What do you think?
It's going to be fantastic on iHeart. It's going to be amazing. All right, listen, guys, I'm all about gratitude these days, and I have you all here. So I just want to let you know, I can't express to you how grateful I am that you all came on here and reunited. It's like that Dylan McKay line, right? This is your welcome to your dream come true. I am literally in the dream come true right now. And I guarantee that everyone that's watching this video cast has had some significant moment that the show touched us so deep. And some people have said that this show was a form of therapy for them. I've heard that a couple of times, and I think I sort of agree with that. So, I mean, I think it was there for us in darkness and good times and bad times and the in-between times. And it's a testament to all the work that you guys did 30 years ago with the writers and the great directors and the producers and everybody that pitched in. I mean, the crew and everything else. Thank you, guys. This has been an honor to have you all here, and thank you guys for the incredible work that you did. And then happy anniversary to all of you.
Yes.
You guys go. I know you're probably wondering where some of the people that the characters were. There's somebody that I wanted to show you something real quick.
Hey, Morton Muntz here. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on what I'm doing with my life after college. But before we get into that, I have to do this. I've always wanted to do this. Okay, so after college, I took it upon myself to purchase a failing brewing company. I mean, after many drunken nights in the keg house, why wouldn't I? So I'm now a CEO and mad brewer of Keg Stand Suds, and it's doing really well. We're in 61 markets across the world. I've won a couple of awards for my IPA called The Madman. It's a little bitter, but oh, so sweet. It's so good. It's so good. I literally have 100 bottles of beer on the wall inside my house. Literally. My wife isn't happy with it, but, it is what it is. On the weekends, I also help her out at her produce stand at the farmer's market. So I guess you could say I'm a part-time produce manager as well. So take care, y'all.
And
That's wild.
that was Steve Sanders' buddy in the keg house.
Yeah.
Months.
Absolutely.
Where does he
Ryan
live?
Brown.
Whidbey Island. Whidbey
Have you
Island.
tried his beer, Ryan?
Where's Whidbey Island?
It's
I
off the
have
coast
no
of
idea.
Seattle.
I don't know what's
Seattle.
true or
It's up
what's
towards
false
Vancouver.
with everything you said, but it was great to see Ryan.
it's all where Muntz is. It's all where Muntz is. That's
Yeah,
how
that's where Muntz is.
Yeah.
That's where he is, Larry? He's on Whidbey Island?
Yeah, you know where. It's out toward Vancouver.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Gorgeous.
Oh, it's great. It's
a nice life, making beer, and then on the weekend working with his wife in the farmer's market. All right.
There you go. All right, we're going to say goodbye to all you guys. Hey, Gabrielle, thank you. James and Carol, you're going to stick around here, and we're going to say goodbye. But come back to the show frequently, and visit Jennie and Tori's as well. There's a lot to talk about, and believe it, we want to know everything. The fans want to know all things.
I can't say.
I just want to say, I love you all.
Love you all too.
Miss you. Hey, Jay.
Canada, Jennie, I can't wait to get together. James, I'll see you next week. Bye,
See
Carol.
you next Monday, yeah.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. 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 Okay. Here we go. Now we're in phase 2.
That's so bad for Tori. We couldn't get Tori going here.
Well, maybe she'll
Couldn't
get back.
get Tori. Pete did some seamless improvisations there.
I know. We were trying. Melanie was trying to reach her man.
Trying to make it work here. The thing is, what's also happening is people are ahead of schedule and they're coming into the room, which is causing people to not be in the room. So there's a lot of kicking from studios, and I don't mean to be doing that rudely, but it's just how it goes.
But we're ready to move on and talk about James and Carol and that one thing that I love so much. Yes? No. Hi, Tori.
Hey. Tori, I don't know if you could hear me, but I just want to let you know that every episode of this podcast that we've done, every single director, writer, actor, producer comes in, they say how amazing you are in this show, whether it is from doing comedy or the drama stuff. There's such a growth in your character and the work that you did. So thank you so much for what you did. I don't know if anyone told you this, but when I was in high school, I used to tell people when they said, who is the celebrity you'd want to be best friends with? I used to always say Tori Spelling. So I just think the world of you, and
Molly,
you just
Molly
feel bad
Campbell.
for me because I'm having such trouble with
Molly Campbell called you the Lucille Ball.
Yeah, that's right. Molly Campbell said you're a little bit like Lucille Ball.
I love Molly. She's a genius.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little
Can
bit?
you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
It's very
You're a
interactive.
little choppy visually.
I don't know what to do.
You're like an anime thing from Japan.
Yes, a little bit.
Oh, those are pretty though.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Those are great glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like stop action animation.
Wait, is this better?
Power Rangers.
It's a little bit better. No.
Oh man.
Okay.
You guys, I'm so supremely sorry. I was so excited to be a part of this today, and I'm so sorry. I'm moving.
You're good. It's great seeing your face.
Don't judge my background, but I'm trying. Is it better now?
It is better. It is better, actually.
Getting better. It's a 3-hour show, supposedly. So by the time it's over, Tori, you'll have it down. I got faith in you.
Yeah.
That's very in line with my character. By 10 season, got it down. I'm good.
Yes. We're definitely having a Donna Martin moment. Well, so anyway, listen, I just want to let you know we're all really super excited for your podcast. Thank you for trying to stop by here today. I do think the world of you, and I know.
Off, Pete?
No, not at all. I want you to stay.
As long as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay. What about for you, Tori? Was there a moment or when you were doing that first season where you said this show is going to be this is going to be a thing?
I mean, honestly, I got to see behind the scenes before it was a thing, so I believed in it. I thought it was going to be great, and I thought the writing was awesome, and the cast were amazing. So, you know, it was in my exact age group, so I was like, this is going to be crazy big. And I didn't know anything else. You know, everything my dad did was amazing. So, and he got to work with all of you guys. So, I always thought it would be a success. I was actually surprised in the first season when it wasn't. And then it became a huge success.
You know, that's a good point. I don't think that we could talk about this show without talking about your dad, Darren Spelling. I mean, none of us would be here if it wasn't for that. So congratulations on the 30 years and the loving memory of your dad. Is there anything you want to say about your dad?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. It's hard nowadays because it's a different generation and a lot of people don't know who my dad is. And I'm grateful because everyone that's on here right now and everyone that was part of this knew him so well. And so that's important to me. And he loved all of you guys so much. I mean, I have 5 kids now, so I wish he could be around. And to see that 90210 30 years later is still just as big, all the teens watching it now. And it's just crazy that it stood the test of time.
Yeah, you do sound better now too, and we're starting to see you, so that's great. Yeah. Was there any storyline? I asked these guys this question, but was there a storyline that you were just like, I'm super excited to do this storyline?
Oh my goodness. I mean, any of the comedy, I mean, Jeff knows, like Larry, like when you guys gave me comedy to do, I was so excited because I felt like it was hard being a young girl on a show with other beautiful, amazing women and just trying to find your place. So
yeah. Well,
that gave me a voice.
You were terrific in the comedy, but then you morphed every time we gave you drama, Tori. And there are certain episodes. I know one particularly that Karen did having to do with incest, and I remember, we went to your dad and said, Tori, they're doing the whole show. Donna's doing the whole show, and you did. You really carried it every time there was drama. I think most people would think about Donna Martin Graduates, right?
Yes. What is that moment? Is that the moment that everybody sort of like talks to you about Donna Martin Graduates, Tori?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And moment for the rest of my life.
For sure. I love it. Well, I'm going to bring someone else into the mix here. You guys are all going to be surprised for this moment.
I hope.
Oh, that's so great. Oh my God. Look at Jim. Jim is felling.
Spelling. Oh, miss you.
Hi, Ann.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And hey, Carol. She's the one that got me into this, so.
She roped you in.
Great to see you, Carol. Ann, great to see you.
Yes, good to see you guys.
Ann, it's been 30 years, for this show. What's your thoughts on looking back on all this time?
Oh my gosh. It was such an extraordinary thing to be a part of. I started in the Perfect Mom episode just as the show was starting to air and just as it was starting to, have the first hints of cultural phenomenon. And the amazing thing was that somehow I got to be on at least one episode of all 10 years of the show, which was extraordinary. And I had my own child who turned into Aaron Silver, who then started a whole new show. And so anyway, it was fun to be a part of all that.
Absolutely. That's very cool.
Oh my gosh. Ann and Carol, both of you don't age.
I think you better look a little more closely.
No, you guys.
Nope, you don't age. Nope.
Hey, I'm curious for the parents. I just blanked you all into the group. The parents. What was like watching the show sort of explode for all of them, to seeing all of them sort of grow into the parts and all of that stuff. James, we'll start with you.
Oh God, don't ask me. I'm not quite sure what you mean. What?
Well, at one moment in the show, was uncertain about what was going to happen, and then another moment in the show, it became a big success for all the kids. They were getting chased everywhere. What was that experience like for you to see that happening to everybody?
It was powerful. It was powerful, and I think I felt fatherly concern for everybody, oddly enough. Because I know the pressures that everybody was underneath, and but everybody handled it incredibly well. And we like Jason said, we were kind of this kooky family. It was like this. I don't know. For me, I've never done a show before or after like doing this show. I've never had this sort of sense of where the fact that, I know this sounds crazy, but the fact that the dressing rooms were all close together. And it wasn't like we were off away from each other. You showed up at the set and we were all just sort of mixed together. And everybody's going into everybody else's dressing room, and it was so much fun. I'm just remembering how much, excuse the expression, goddamn fun it was to do it. So it was amazing that the outside world started to become so, sort of impacted on everybody. But I don't know. We had a very strong group.
Tori, what was that like for you? I don't know if you could still hear us. One day it just kind of launched into superstardom. What was that experience like for you?
It was definitely worse for the guys. Like, I just remember for Luke and Jason, it was insanity. I do remember being at a mall and being on an escalator and hearing Donna, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. That's my character's name. And then I was like, looking at me. Oh no, it's me. And I remember that moment. I can see it right now in my head. I'll never forget that because everything changed after that moment.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. And what about you watching the success of the kids?
Well, I worked very closely with Jennie, and I kind of, I watched her most closely, but surely everybody have to figure out a strategy of how to deal with that kind of attention and that kind of fame. And really, it affected all of us. To a much smaller extent, but because of my connection with the show, like I'd be in Toys R Us with my kids and, people would be surrounding me wanting my autograph. And I didn't mind that piece so much, but I didn't really want my kids exposed to it. So it was a funny thing. I remember having conversations. I remember one morning, and this is well into the show, but Jennie had gotten into a fender bender on the way to the show, and she came into the makeup trailer and she was like, I can't even have a normal car accident. Whoever it was that, they had a fender bender, she's apparently said something like, I hate your show, bitch. And so yes, and so she was traumatized first from, it's 1:00 in the morning, and then somebody was like giving her an opinion about the show, which So I think it took its toll on folks, and I think everybody came out the other side. That was kind of my impression of it.
Sandra says, "I love you, Tori Spelling." So,
hi, Sandra. I love you too.
Yes, that's very nice. Tori, I'm going to ask you: is there a specific episode that that you just absolutely love whenever you see it, besides the Donna Martin Graduates episode? You're going to have to know all this stuff soon, by the way.
I know.
Well, everybody loves her in when she got to talk about teaching the kids to swim if you have a swimming pool.
That besides Donna Martin Graduates, it's that. You're gonna
Everybody's talking about it. Your dad loved that.
And they're like, I tell my kids and they're young and they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to get it yet. That was my big speech. I was so scared of messing that up. That was like my big moment. It was in front of everybody. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so many lines. I just get it right. I still can't watch that one back. It makes me embarrassed because I'm just like, it's too much on me. Like, go to someone else.
Oh.
We did great. Is that a childproof thing behind you, by the way?
Hey, Anne, we had an opportunity to talk to someone this week, and they wanted to say hi, but they couldn't be here. So I'm going to play this for you. Oh, and then they put you with Anne. What was she like for you? Happens. There you go. Wait. Oh, and then they put you with Anne. What was she like for you?
The best. The best. Anne and I developed, and her husband, Jeff, developed a very, very close relationship. She was incredible to work with, as were most of the people on that set. And we'll talk a little more about this, I imagine, but Anne was just the best. And we stayed friends for a very long time. I haven't spoken to her for a while. The last I had spoken to her, she was, I believe, I want to say a minister, maybe in Virginia or someplace like that. But she just one of the most wonderful human beings ever. She was a wonderful actress, but just an even better person. She was great. I loved working with her.
Wow, that's pretty.
I'm curious. I'm curious for you, Anne. What was it like working with Matthew?
Oh, it was lovely. It was so, I mean, it was so fun because it was the second season and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm back. This is so exciting. And, and they were developing a pretty hilarious storyline of, the two of us getting together and how hard it was for Jennie. And pretty soon after the first episode, pretty soon after the first episode, I discovered I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, so that's the end of this. And I went into Paul Wagner's office and I was like, Paul, I just have to tell you that I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh, that's very interesting. And what was great was it got written into the storyline, and I had this whole, do I marry Mel? Do I not marry Mel? And and it was quite wonderful to work under those circumstances and to be treated with so much respect on the set. And Matthew was like my set husband, so it was very fun. And I must say, we always had a great time with Jim and Carol, because when the four of us were all together, it was like, oh, the parents were on the set, and and we could be ourselves watching all of the insanity that was happening. But it was really fun to be a parent on that show, actually.
Yeah. We also got to talk to Matthew about the questions he still gets asked about 90210. So here's that.
Little did I know what was going to happen to Mel Silver after that, when I became apparently, and I'm still thought of this way, the biggest, I don't know what word to use that I can.
Scoundrel? How about scoundrel? Does that
scoundrel is a good one. Yeah. And you know what? It's not a word used often enough today. Scoundrel is a good one.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, the effects, as we're doing this show because of what 90210 meant and still means to the culture of this country. After 30 years, it's astounding still to this day, because 30 years later, I still get, when somebody finds out I was on 90210, I still get, how could you get them drunk? Why? I didn't. And I always explain, I left the room. They came back. They grabbed the champagne. I have to fight for this stuff. You two guys there. Or I get that, or I get,
you cheated.
I can't believe you had an affair when you had a 3-month-old. I mean, I get that. Or I have to explain to people, I didn't actually do that. It's said in the script. I got paid. It wasn't really me. But the point is, all of these things are still coming up today. I still get people all the time that ask me about when we went to see David's mom, who was homeless in Portland, which was one of my favorite episodes we ever did. I get questions about the show all the time, 30 years later. And what I also get now is, oh, yeah, I was really little, but my mom used to watch that show, which I get that all the time, too, is, I think my mom watched it. I don't know if she was old enough. No, it's 30 years ago.
Awesome. Well, let's add somebody else to the mix of this.
I'll pass it on.
What about that?
Thank goodness.
Hi.
We're adults.
I haven't seen
This
you
is the
guys
adult
in
corner. Here we are.
Meet the parents.
20 years.
Yeah, anyway.
Hi, everybody.
It's so hard, because really what we want to do is sit here and gab and talk. And how are your kids? Where are you? What are you doing?
Do it.
Exactly.
Catherine, what is it like for you on this 30th anniversary?
I can't believe it's been 30 years. Oh, come on, please. Yeah. Wow, that went like a shot. But it's amazing, how iconic the show was. And when you're on an iconic show, you're part of it forever.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fantastic. I mean, how many of us out there, us actors, get to do this and be part of something that was so amazing?
Yeah, absolutely. Chuck, you have a couple clips here, right, that you wanted me to pop on from scenes of these ladies.
Okay, now all three, everybody here, but you start to save James and Carol for the last one.
Okay, so we'll show this one.
Year after year, more people are getting sick. More people are dying. Children are dying. I submit condoms aren't the answer.
Remember that, right?
That was the introduction, and it was. I always being a very pink liberal. I love writing conservatives, and that's what I do. And then Karen wrote. So I wrote that part for you, Catherine, and a lot with her adding the wink, wink, nod, nod, and then she did all, of course, Donna talking about the pool. And
thank you for that, Charles.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good show, and it was my first show. So it was the first time I got to be with everybody and start to get to know everybody.
Well, you were modeled after a doctor's wife I grew up with in Beverly Hills. We're very good friends with my parents, and she was wonderful. She was my Aunt Betty, but she was really a pretty conservative lady, and liked to share her opinions, and was involved with the political mishegas of Beverly Hills.
Yes, and then there's this other clip of Anne.
Oh, Gran, I gotta go. My mom just walked in. Okay, bye. Hello. What do you want to talk to me about?
Kelly, I want you to promise me that you will never, ever have unprotected sex, not even once.
What are you talking about? What does it matter?
I'm pregnant.
Talk to me about that, guys.
Well, oh my God. Well, it was just a wild, the whole experience was wild. First of all, I have to tell you that when I told my son, who's 32 tomorrow, that I was going to be doing this tonight, he said, perhaps you should start like this. And I was like, oh, no. We won't be revisiting the drug stuff. But it was an incredible experience. I thought it was written beautifully because I was already pregnant, and in my own life, I had an abortion when I was younger, and that was one of the things that was allowed to be there. There was sort of this question: is Jackie going to have the baby? Is she not going to have the baby? And the decision to have the baby happened not necessarily with Mel, and then later they decided that they would get married, and then I had this wedding. We had this wedding when I was pregnant. I mean, there was just wonderful, wonderful stuff. And one of my favorite scenes ever, actually, was I think Jennie and I were lying on a bed together, and I was sort of talking my way through it and sort of deciding that I really did want the baby, and that Jennie was such a big part of that. And even the scene right before I was getting married. Having been married several times before, I had some, the character had some anxieties about getting married, and anyway, and that it was so important that Kelly liked Mel, and that was such an important piece of it. And then we could sort of walk down the aisle together. It was, I mean, there was just beautiful, beautiful stuff to act. And I thought there was a lot of humanity that was allowed to be present. So thank you.
Absolutely. Catherine, is there a particular episode from the series that you really identified with, or like were excited to do, maybe?
Well, the episode where Felice had an affair was really tough for me, because not that I'd had an affair in my marriage, but that I had a marriage that ended. So to see my daughter have to go through this situation was very emotional for me, having gone through a divorce and having had my son have to go through that. So I was very, very emotional going into the scene. And Bethany Rooney, bless her heart, she had me do it several times before the cameras rolled, because she didn't want me to be quite that emotional. And I think it was very good for the character. That
Bethany's going to join us in the at the end of the next hour, and we will tell her that you said that.
Yeah, she was great. She was really wonderful.
For my love, I loved working with Bethany.
Yeah, she was terrific.
How about for you, Carol? We haven't heard much from you. I'm so sorry, because there's so much going on here. But what about for you? Are there episodes that really stick out to you, looking back on this 30 years later? Carol?
Did someone ask me a question? I can't hear anything. I'm really having a hard time with the internet. You're all jumping in and out, everything. Everybody's talking on top of each other.
You didn't do Chrome.
Yeah. No, she didn't.
Did you ask me?
I just asked you if there was any episodes that were particular episodes that you really enjoyed doing.
That I really remember?
Yeah.
Well, 17-Year Itch. I mean, was the storyline was I have an almost affair with an old boyfriend, and it happened. I was shooting that the week before I got married. So, I mean, in real life.
Oh, really?
It was really fun and a little, hectic and crazy. But I have to say that one of my favorite things about 90210 is I got to meet Ann Gillespie, and we became really good friends. And she's been a fellow traveler through many, both of us through many changes, right, Ann?
Yeah.
And so that's one of my enduring happinesses for having been
we
on the
know
show.
that. That's why you're on here together. What
this was kind of special.
Very awesome.
We got everybody together. I know you're waiting. There's some technical stuff, but
yes,
we got the James and Carol's.
Yeah, I'm going to show that clip right now.
Yeah. This one I really wanted to show, because what I love about it, just before it goes in, it's going to start funny, and then there's some drama, and that was what Mr. Spelling loved the most about the series, was how it could switch from one to the other, and you two embody that in one of my favorite moments in the entire series.
Yes. All right, let's watch this.
Honey, I see Trudy.
Honey, we must be on the same wavelength. We have been looking all over for you lovebirds to see if you want to take a little splish splash with us, and here you are, right where we were hoping you'd be.
Actually, we were just getting out.
Oh, now don't you be no party pooper on me, Jim Walsh. The fun is just starting.
How are you tonight, Cindy?
I'm fine, Bob. How are you?
I'm game.
Speaking of games, we've got a tennis game tomorrow.
Oh, come on now, Jimbo. I've been waiting all weekend to go around the goosey, ducky with you.
Brandon was in a car accident tonight.
Where's Brandon now?
He's in jail, Daddy. They arrested him for drunk driving. I'm really sorry, Dad.
Okay, bye.
All right.
We fused a few scenes together in that one, and they dropped their bathrobe. I don't know how that didn't get cut in.
The hot tub was hysterical.
Watching that.
Yeah,
Carol
exactly. And one of my favorite line readings you ever did, Carol. Fine, Jim. Whatever they fine, Jim. How are you? How are you, Bob? Yes. How are you? That was
Richard Paul.
Good stuff, guys. James, what about you? Are there moments that you particularly remember or stand out to? Was that one of them?
That is, I've got to say, getting to work with Carol was probably one of the most enduringly wonderful things about the show. Is
I couldn't see the clip.
Oh, no.
Completely blanket on it.
Shouldn't we all distribute? Shouldn't we? We're in the entertainment industry. Shouldn't we have like good technology or something? Go with the territory. You should see. Oh, you got to show it to her. It's so fun.
Yeah, at some point we'll send it back over to you.
All right. I'm going to remember one thing very quickly. The fact that I got to play baseball was one of my most favorite episodes, because I show up and I guess I was coaching the baseball team, and we had the ringers from the UCLA team as the high school team. Remember that? And I spent 4 days running around with these guys. I've always wanted to play hardball growing up. I never did. And these guys taught me how to play hardball. And I would be sweating like crazy. And the poor makeup trailer, they would be like, James, you're supposed to be shooting. I know. And they say, stop playing. We've got to wipe down and redo the makeup again. You know, I was 3 days of playing baseball. It was a lot of fun.
All right, we're going to say goodbye to our parents. We have a lot of other things to get to, but thank you all for stopping by. Right?
It's so good to see you all.
So good.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Lots of love.
Bye-bye, Carol. Bye-bye, Ann.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, and all of them, they're all going to come. Yes, they're all going to come back to do some deep dives down the line. It's good to be back here now, back to home base. Chuck and Larry.
Yeah. We're not doing deep dives today.
People who know how to get up and in and out of SteamYard.
Well, there is a lot
behind schedule, so I hope we're doing that.
Yeah.
Again, this is
Demo
like a
called me.
telethon.
He's in Malibu. Their power went out. Power's out in Malibu. So I hope not many people are trying to.
For those
again, this is like the telethon thing we're doing here. It's people are going to come in and out. It's not really the deep dive show.
Right.
We're not going to be asking people to pledge any money. Just love for their respect for the show that's endured.
How about him, Darren Martin?
Oh, Darren.
Howdy.
Wearing his color
of the code.
There we go.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Before we get to Darren, Chuck, I'm going to run Melanie Rose did this amazing stuff for us. She brought us on a tour of the locations. Darren, I brought you on now because I know that you've visited a lot of these locations. I think you even stayed in one of them. So I'm going to play this amazing thing. It's a virtual hunt that Melanie has put together that's going on. There's going to be a lot more of them coming up. Here's a little bit of us out and going to some locations.
Hi, I'm Melanie Rose with 90210 Tours, and I'm here with Peter from Beverly Hills 90210 show, as you all know.
That's right.
And we're visiting some 90210 filming locations in celebration of the upcoming 30th anniversary of Beverly Hills 90210. The pilot aired on October 4th, 1990. The show ran for 10 years. And we're starting out here at Casa Walsh, which is the most iconic filming location of them all, wouldn't you say?
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. It's exciting to revisit all these places with you for this anniversary special. I think it's going to be very cool. We're going to have Chuck and Larry join us a little bit later. I think it's going to be a blast. I guess for me, I just watched it when I was in high school. It was always consistent. It was always on. I fell in love with the stories. I met my wife, and she was even a bigger fan of the show than I was.
So cool.
Yeah. And when we moved here from New Jersey earlier this year, we were looking for like the right neighborhoods and where to move and where to live. And we looked at many different locations. We kept coming back to Altadena, and we only live about 3 minutes from here. And I was like, this feels like home to me. The fact that the Walshes live here, that they don't really live here, but this house represents home. And I think that's what 90210 represents for me.
And I am here with
Larry and Yoshi.
And
Pete.
And Chuck, but you probably know me as Charles.
And we're here at none other than the famous beach house from Beverly Hills 90210.
When we finally convinced Mr. Spelling that we should do a college show, gave us the opportunity for girls to move out of their Beverly Hills house and have a cool apartment at the beach. And the location manager says, here's our cool apartment. And we go, okay, that's cool. A little far from our base in the valley in Van Nuys, but Hermosa Beach is fine. Then we started to build the set inside to match this apartment. When Melanie said we filmed here, yeah, twice. Because right after that, some irate neighbor said, hey, city council, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have agreed to this, and we don't want it, and we're coming to you. And so they reneged on our contract.
90210 fans will always remember this house and recognize this famous exterior. The apartment itself was on the second floor. Lots of notable things happened here. You may remember Joe Bradley punching Ray Pruitt. That was a good one.
There, yeah.
Yep, right up there.
And Garrett Slan, the stalker of Donna, broke into the apartment here, and he was, luckily for Donna, she used the word Davy, so David Silver realized something was up, and he confronted the stalker, and Garrett went down.
And we will see where all those incidents happened, because they didn't happen here, because we weren't allowed to film here.
Rumor has it, Darren Spelling did not allow the cast of 90210 to wear sunglasses. Interesting.
Yep. Now notice Pete didn't take his sunglasses off because Pete always follows Aaron Spelling's rules.
Have to follow Aaron's rules.
Love
always.
it.
All right, so that's that. Now, Darren Martin, Chuck and Larry and I wanted to bring you on the show today because we think the world of you. And I wanted you to know that we appreciate you very much and what you've done for the fans over the last number of years. You've just been such a loyal fan and whatnot, and you bring everybody together. You are the example of 90210. And I know this has been a very rough year for you. You've gone through quite a bit. And I was talking to you on Facebook a couple of days ago, and I asked you, of all the guest stars, which guest star would you most like to meet? How about this one?
Yeah.
Darren.
Jennifer Grant. Oh, that's so cool. Celeste.
Hi.
Hi, Darren.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Hi there,
Right?
Jennifer.
It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, I've always been a huge Celeste fan. I know you were only on for a couple of seasons, but you've always been one of my favorites.
Thank you. I'm so glad Larry, that you all wrote me into being, really. That I
This
could
is so
be there
awesome.
for Darren. And
Oh, thank you. This is so cool.
that was
My face
first
is like
role
so
ever.
red, right?
Yeah, it is very
It is
red.
red. It is red.
It is
Yeah.
red. You all see the red. Yeah, I'm a little red too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look great.
Hey Jennifer, I'm
Yes.
curious. You played Celeste all those years ago. What was that like for you?
It was great. It was truly my first job ever, acting, and I was nervous. I was nervous at the audition. I remember going in, and I'd just been to the dentist, and my lips were numb. and I thought I'm gonna stammer, I'm gonna stumble, but I guess it worked for me.
Yeah, we
it helped.
took that into consideration. No, what? No, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. She's great. Let's bring her in. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And you really, you had and I know you weren't a Beverly Hills character, and yet you did possess kind of a real nice equilibrium, real regal kind of quality, and everybody knew Steve just blew it with you. It was very clear.
I agree.
But then John Sears?
Yes.
Yeah, you went down with John Sears too.
What was
Can
it
you
like working?
believe? I
What-
know, but I got his number. I had his
Yeah.
number by the end.
Yeah.
You should have seen through him early.
What was it like working with Ian back then?
Oh, he was such a sweetheart. He was my first on-screen kiss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a total gentleman and just helpful and kind and really all I could wish for. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
There were some fun days.
You have to see all these great comments. They should have kept Celeste forever. That's to Chuck and
Yes.
Larry. Celeste should have become a regular. Chuck, that's on you. Just kidding. No.
Oh, sure. I control all.
I'm putting it all on you. I'm putting it all on you. No, here we go.
All on me.
Celeste, love Celeste too. Great with Steve. How about love Celeste and Steve? Very loved here. What do you think, Jennifer? Why is everybody still talking about 90210 30 years later?
Because it was, you know what? It was a fun, sexy show, honestly. And I think there were certain stereotypes about females that were, I'm curious now, if we did 90210 now, what ground we'd be breaking right now,
Yeah.
Where we'd be entering with this group of friends who are, I don't know. I think it was something that around the world, I know wherever I would go. I was in Australia once walking on the beach and someone ran up and said, Celeste.
Really?
Touches people around the world. And why? I think it's because it was a close-knit group of friends who went through things together, possibly a precursor to Friends.
Yeah. Beverly says she loves the game show episode where we meet Celeste. She was so nice, beautiful, and kind. I agree.
Love at first sight.
There you go. Darren, before we say goodbye to Jennifer, is there anything that you'd like to say to her?
Thank you for being part of my favorite show of all time. I mean, I know characters came and gone over the years, but of all 10 seasons, you were like my top favorite guest star. And I thank you so much for doing what you did and for having this great chemistry with the cast. I know it's hard to join a cast that's been established for 3 or 4 years, and you joined and everybody just loved you instantly, and you did a great job, and you're an amazing actress.
Thank you, Darren.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Chuck.
What he
Thank
said.
you, Larry. Thank you,
What he
Pete.
said.
You got it. And Jennifer, you're going to come
Jennifer.
back. We're going to do a deep dive down the line on all things Celeste. I can't wait to do that. So, hey, thank you for being
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Hey,
Okay.
Darren, we're gonna say goodbye to you as well because we got to move this show along. Love you.
That was awesome. Thank you. Love you,
I
too.
got you.
Great.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. So we're moving the show along here.
I think you're doing great.
Doing great now.
I'm following
Yeah.
Chuck's script.
We're
right
trying.
now.
All right, listen. I know everybody's wondering where some of their some of their favorite characters are. So here's Allison.
Hey everybody, Allison Lash here. Hope you guys are staying safe and well during this crazy time, and hope you're registered to vote and prepared to stand in long lines to defend things like LGBTQ rights and the environment and civil rights and justice for all. So be prepared, pack a bag of lunch. A little bit about what's been going on with me. So it's so nice to hear from Kelly from time to time. We've become good friends over the years. And I've been working with the American Burn Association and the Red Cross, the American Red Cross. I highly urge you to donate and look into the work they're doing with burn victims across this country. It's really inspiring. And as you know, I have a personal stake in the matter. So I hope you guys stay safe and well. Much love. Bye.
And look who's with us here.
Oh.
Douglas.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good,
So
man.
great to see you.
You. But before we say hi to some other people, hang on, take a look at this. The old principal.
does.
Okay, perfect. Melanie, does Pete see her?
We got her. We got her.
1 second, I'm just waiting for confirmation.
We got her. Yes, we have.
Hi, Denise.
I look awful dark. I don't know.
Yeah, we got you, Denise. Can you hear us?
That's better.
Oh, we could just.
All right. Anyway, we're going to let Denise figure out what's happening. Denise, we see you. We know that you're here. Turn down your audio so that we can get you in. And the other person that's waiting in the wings, I see you too. So hang out in that virtual room. We'll be with you in a second. Here, turn down your audio so that we can get you. Yes, there we go. Doug, this is it. We're live, man. This is how it's going.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's see.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy
Hey,
anniversary, indeed.
You know, all those years ago, you were in the show. Talk to me about what that experience was like for you.
Well, goodness. I mean, I've been so lucky to do so many jobs and do pilots and similar things. Certainly nothing of this magnitude, nothing to ever equal 90210, that's for sure. But I think initially, I first interviewed for the role of David Silver,
really,
which I think some people probably don't know, and it's not really pertinent for the most part. But so I went to network, I interviewed, went to network, read in front of Aaron for that, and then I'd already read the script, was asked to come back very kindly from them to read for his friend. So I went in and read and was offered the job by Aaron himself, and that was just super special. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, obviously you had some iconic stuff happen in the series.
Yes. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. What's it like looking back on that now?
I wish I took more pictures. I wish maybe, maybe I had spent a little more time. I was easily the youngest one on the show, next to Brian and Tori. But the three of us were pretty close in age. They were both a year ahead of me. But we were actually high schoolers. So we had a unique perspective, I think, from that, is that we kind of lived it already and we're in the middle of it. The storylines were very familiar, so it's been great. I mean, it's been wonderful.
Let's see if
and we're in the middle.
Denise, you gotta turn down the volume because we can't hear it's coming back as an echo. Anyway, for Doug, how about this person?
Hi, Mom.
I'm so sorry.
Mom 2.0. You should have looked out for me more.
I knew she was a pistol, but holy cow, I had no idea.
It's nice to see you.
Hi, Jenny. It's so nice of you to be here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
This is
you were, I remember you did. I don't remember if you auditioned for this role or not, but I don't think you did because Paul Wagner said, my friend Jenny O'Hara is going to do this and we are lucky. And
I did. I came in and I had a wonderful time.
You were just so perfect for this.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was really special.
Hey, what was it like working with each other?
Do we have a...
What's that? What was it like working with each other, Jenny? You and Doug?
It was a piece of cake. I mean, it was so easy. So easy.
You
were so present. So was I. So there we were. And I had a few nasty models from my childhood to go from.
I'm going to show you guys a clip from the clip from the next 50 years, right, Chuck, that I'm playing? Yes?
That's the one.
Make sure this is the right house.
Yeah, Brenda said 5070 Foothill Drive.
Oh, there's a party. How come it's so dark?
Oh, God, they didn't do the surprise yet. We gotta get out of here. Hey, Brandon. What are you doing here? Well, Scott, we were just out walking Emily's dog.
Right.
What dog?
Fooled you.
Nah, as soon as I saw them, I knew. Scott, I totally forgot it was a surprise, man. I'm sorry. It's cool. Is Brenda here?
Oh, yeah. Brenda and Steve and Kelly and Donna.
They're all here? Inside? Far out.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
Thanks for everything, Mom. Thanks.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Well, as long as you're here, you might as well join the gang.
Thanks.
Well, we really pulled it off, huh?
I don't know, David. These friends you invited, first they ruin the surprise, not a single one brings a present. But I guess we'll just have to make the best of it, won't we?
Wow.
I thought that one clip, you got both of you in there, and there was no guns, so we didn't have to go through the...
Well, good.
Just guilt.
A lot of guilt.
Just guilt.
Yeah, I'm curious, Jennie, you're looking back on this all these years later. Are you surprised that we're still talking about Beverly Hills 90210 30 years later?
No, I'm not surprised at all. And it was wonderful. You sent me a couple of the 2 shows that I was in.
Yeah.
And it was remarkable to me how pertinent they were today, are today. It's the same conversations. It's the same issues, the same difficulties that young people have figuring out, same support, the same lack of support. I think it was really, it is really good. I think that you should stream it.
Yeah. What about you, Doug? Do you feel that way too about the issues and all that stuff that Jennie was talking about?
Well, yeah, I absolutely do. Especially, I becoming a parent and having 2 daughters go through high school and them kind of living it 24, 26 years later, that, I absolutely, it's zero surprise that they're still talking about it. It's iconic. It's unequaled.
All right, Chuck, do you have any questions for them here? Or are we good to move on from this section, Chuck?
I think so. I'm sorry. I had my, your TV dad in this episode, Greg Finley, try to come through here from Boise, Idaho. And he was a Beverly Hills guy. He was friends with my sister. And I knew him from elementary school. I looked up to him. I'm sorry he couldn't join us, but you guys were great. And thank you so much. We're calling this a telethon. We bring them in, we bring them on. And you don't have to do a donation.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for including
Thank you.
me.
I super enjoyed my time. Consider myself extremely blessed for getting to be a part of such an amazing cast.
Well, and I want to let you know, Scott, I feel very blessed that both of you decided to come here and stop by on this show. It means a lot to me and to all the people that are following along. You have no idea what they're writing. It's just, here's Robin says, you guys were great. Thanks so much. So there's just Doug and Jennie, you're amazing. Love you. There's just so much love here for the both of you. Karen, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say my hello to Jennie and Doug again. And I haven't seen Jennie in for 30 years, probably for 20 something. At least, and just to have a wonderful, really professional actress on the show. She just came in. I remember the directors asking her to do it a few different ways. This, no problem. She was a great example. You are wonderful, and we've loved following your career ever since. And it's just amazing. So nice to see you. And Doug, we got to see each other. Was it a year ago?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow, I had not seen him in 30 years. And just lovely to meet you and your beautiful daughter. And sorry you had to give up your role for a good cause.
That's okay. It was worth it. Everything worked out like it was supposed to. So I consider myself
Thank you again so much.
Thank you very much, Doug.
And Doug, tomorrow's your birthday. So have a
happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, darling.
I wasn't going to mention that, but I appreciate that.
How about a cowboy hat?
Thank you, Darren Martin, for that. So, all right, guys. Check you later. All right. So
Bye.
we're gonna
Great
move
to see you.
Thank you, Jennie.
Let's see if this happens here.
Ah.
All right.
No, I'm there. Hello, Mrs. Teasley.
Let's see. Real quick, Denise, I just want to ask you, looking back on the series, it's been 30 years. What is your thoughts on this anniversary? Real quick, Denise, I just want to ask you, looking back on the series, it's been 30 years. What is your thoughts on this anniversary?
So, you guys, just to let you know, I feel like I'm in a water hole, and I'm hearing you.
We're having that too. We're going to say goodbye, Denise. We want to let you know we love you. We think the world of you, and it's great to see you here. Sorry,
Denise, I really admire your patience.
Yeah,
I really admire your patience, and look forward to talking to you in the way that you deserve.
Come back.
We had you slated in with the kids and everything. So
yeah. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. So that's over. Okay.
Let's go look at the big board right now. Oh no, sorry, that's not the big board. That's good, but we've been doing good. What's happening, Peter?
Well, okay. We have, more people. Where are they now? Kind of things, right? Where are some more characters now? So, how about this guy?
Hey 90210, it's Josh Richland here. back from the dead, but not really. And if Brandon had been a better journalist, he would have known that I did not die in that accident. No memorial should have been the tip-off. Turns out, I had a terrible spinal injury. I got airlifted to Springfield, Illinois, where at the Memorial Medical Center there, they've got one of the best spinal injury rehab centers in the country. Met a girl. I'm now the editor of the State Journal Register. It's a little paper. Not bad, not great, but not bad. And I'm the editor of the state government section of the State Journal Register in Springfield. Anyway, wishing everybody a very happy anniversary to 90210. I have great memories of being there and working with all those people, and saying hi to everybody and to all of you. Bye.
Josh Richland.
All right.
All right, but wait a minute. This is an unexpected development.
Mark.
Hold up for a second. An unexpected development has happened.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey! Right, wrong again. There you go.
Oh, we'll throw out the script. Hi, Brian. Now,
Please throw out the script.
Chuck hates rewrites. Chuck hates rewrites.
I'm just a terrible reader. I figured out. So yes, please throw
hi
out
to
the
Mark. You guys worked together many times, yeah?
What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
How are you, man?
I'm talking about you this morning, as a matter of fact.
Oh man, it's so good to have you here, man. It's good to see you, Brian. How's everything going with the chicken coop? I know that's a big thing that's going on in your life.
The chicken coop is done.
Nice.
Yes, it is a big thing in my life. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, Pete. I appreciate it. Yes, sadly enough, I built a chicken coop.
Right.
The chicken coop is done. I posted a video of it. And now I'm moving on to a vegetable garden.
Oh, that's
boy.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. You know, this quarantine has really changed things.
Been self-sufficient. Yeah.
Larry had my question to you. Do you have chickens in the chicken coop?
I do. I have 6 chickens. Yeah, I have a rooster and 5 hens.
Did you name the chickens?
My kids did.
Oh, okay. Well, that's got me trouble.
I named them chicken strips for when they come out the line.
It's always a problem when you name them.
But until then, their eggs are delicious.
Jess S says David Silver turned farmer. So there.
I bet those eggs are great.
Yeah,
Brian, this is 30 years. I know you missed the bunch earlier on, but
I can't believe it's been 30. Oh, so is everybody done?
The other
No.
Oh yeah, they were here about an hour ago. It's okay, Brian. You know,
bastards.
But
I'll tell you something. I want you to know something. There's a clip that's not being used, but was real. We had a wonderful conversation with Spelling and then Fox executive Danielle Gelbert, and she was at that point Daniel Clayman, and we asked her what was her memory of the pilot, and she talked about you. And about, how young you were, and yet you were professional. You'd already done Knots Landing, but you were just a young, and you were the young boy when they did the pilot, at least.
I was a young boy, yeah. I was 16, I think, when we shot the pilot, and then I was 17 when we started doing the series.
And you look 12 in the pilot. At least by the time we did the series, you look 15.
Thanks, Chuck.
Well, just call them like I see them.
I'm glad you weren't the police, because you would have pulled me over constantly.
I'm curious.
I had to grow a mustache so that I wouldn't get pulled over.
Really?
I was that age.
30 years, Brian. What's your thoughts on this show being around this line? Did you think we'd be talking about this all these years later?
No. I can't believe it's been 30 years. You can tell by the look of disgust on my face that that 30 years, it's like, what? How is that possible? 30 years. That's crazy. Mark, did you think we'd be here 30 years later talking about this show?
I mean, I'm just glad we're still here 30 years later.
Very good. Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the thing is, Brian and Mark, you got to know, as the actors, with the other actors who told us to also, Pete mentioned it, that we're sitting here today talking about it because it made such an impression on the fans of a certain age. If they saw it at a certain age, it meant like the world to them. People have been talking about how they discovered it, which characters they related to. They were like their friends. It's like their comfort food when they want a little break from the world we're currently living in. And you guys were who they were looking at and spending their time with, and they still remember those moments as if it was their own teenagerdom or coming of age time. So we didn't believe this until a few years ago when we started to meet the people and talk to them. Different generations of people who kept telling us this, how important it was to them, which regardless which character they related to, it was the group, the friends, the thing, and it still is. It's just kind of amazing.
Yeah, I think it was so. I think it really worked for that time period. I mean, it was a much simpler time, obviously, in the world, and you know, I think we played that hand really well. We gave people in the 90s something to watch during a much simpler time, and now people are sort of craving that. I think, you know, especially currently. So to be able to watch that and go, I remember like what I was wearing and what I was doing, and everyone, you know, most people were in high school watching the show and or just starting college. So it was a much easier, simpler time for everyone.
But there was to that end. I remember getting a note from the network, very unhappy. You know, one of our first summer episodes that Kelly Taylor had a car phone.
Wow.
How is anyone going to relate to this?
Right,
no Beverly Hills, you know.
Right,
you know, and Brian, I think I've told you this before, you know, over the years. You said something maybe 10 years ago or so about we were pre-social media. We were pre-ways for them to know what the lives of rich kids were at that point, or that, and that was one of the successes of the show. That the show would not be as successful, wouldn't even be close to what it is in a world of social media. It just couldn't have sustained itself.
I think at that time Beverly Hills was a place that people had heard of, but unless you had traveled and seen it, there was no way of really knowing. It wasn't in encyclopedias. There wasn't tons of information about it. So it seemed much more magical at that point. And so we could sort of get away with making the city and the lifestyle whatever we wanted to make it. And people were like, oh, that's amazing. We did that with the school itself in West Beverly, and then, and then California University and all of that. It was really, we were able to sort of magically create this world that didn't exist, but it felt like it did. And you can't do that now. You can't. Now everybody would be checking everything that we wrote, and they would be calling us on all the bullshit.
Is there a particular episode from, and I know this is tough, it's 30 years, we should talk about that.
Right.
Is there a particular episode that you look at and you're like, man, I love that episode of 90210?
God, we did so many.
We
did so many. It's crazy that like people bring up storylines and it's like, wait, I don't remember those at all. And then all of a sudden I watch them back and I go, oh man, I do remember that one. Like,
it's flashback from all the double ups you did.
That's right.
The PTSD
totally.
Funny that you say. I know, Brian, you didn't like rewatch them after they were on ever, right? You didn't go back.
I didn't watch them when they were on.
Right. So Mark and Gabby and I, we were just having, and us guys, we were having a conversation recently. Then she came on and Mark, we surprised her with Mark showed up too on her little dive into an episode, and it was their relationship, and she forgot, Gabby forgot that Andrea had an affair while she was married to him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forgot too, actually.
Yeah. You know what? So, can we clear this up, because she cheated first?
Yes, she did.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, she
did.
did.
Yeah, we're gonna dress her down a peg. Believe me.
Brian,
he's the doctor.
We asked for people.
It's only 30 years later, but we'll make it right now.
Right. We asked for people to send us where they are now, and I thought this is appropriate. Now that you're here, we're just kind of lost the script, whatever. But we got one of where somebody is now. I want to show this to you.
How'd you do it? Up all night?
Oops.
How'd you do it? Up all night every night?
Well, with the help of my little friend, Mr. Stay Awake.
Hey everybody, my name is Howard, and I graduated class of '95 at California University. What up, Cali U? I miss everybody there. So a lot of people always ask, like, well, whatever happened to Howard? Like the guy that ran the radio station, like, whatever happened to him? He was pretty cool. So I just wanted to set the record straight, given this opportunity. After graduation, the first thing I had to do was take care of my problem. So I had a little problem with crystal meth. Some of you might know that. The problem is I couldn't get enough of it. But anyway, there was an AA over in Pacific Palisades near where I lived, and I enrolled myself into it. And my first day there, I met my beautiful future wife, now current wife, Mona.
Hi, y'all.
Mona introduced me to her next door neighbor who happened to work for MTV. This guy Jeff says, Howard, what can you offer MTV? Right now in reality programming, we're at a standstill. Everything we do right now is mainstream. 16 and pregnant, mainstream. Like, what can you offer us that's edgier? And I just immediately thought out of nowhere, 10 and pregnant.
Hi, y'all.
Gave me the gig right on the spot. From there, I developed Tap That Ass with Coolio. From there, I developed Housewife Brawl 1, Housewife Brawl 2, and Housewife Brawl 3 Bar Hoppers. All three of those debuted at #1. And from that point forward, he gave me a promotion. I'm vice president of reality television right now at MTV. So that's where I've been. Hope everybody's doing good. Miss you guys at Cali U. Take care.
God bless Howard. So glad he got cleaned.
Cleaned him up.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's still drinking orange juice, but yeah, no more drugs.
You know, he was a bad influence, but you know, he took it too far. He took it too far.
Oh man, that's really good stuff.
That's hilarious.
Listen, happy anniversary, Brian. I know, Chuck, you want to move the show along and get things going, right? Is that what we want to do here?
That would be no. I could stay and talk with Brian for hours.
Same.
I love the guy, but you know,
I do tend to waste time. I know you got to keep this moving.
Yeah,
No,
I
you got my
understand.
chicken, man.
thank you, Brian, very much.
I thank you to all the fans that watch the show, that currently watch the show. Vote,
Yes.
please register, and take care of yourselves. Be kind to people.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Before you leave, Brian, just, listen, we all love Shannon here so much. So if you speak to her, please give us our love and support in the battle that she's going through. I can't say it enough. I just love Shannon Doherty, and I know everybody here has been talking about her on the comments. So please give her our love and support.
I will for sure. And Luke, wherever you are, miss you for sure. You are a huge part of the show. Thank you.
You'll be in the end of this show. We'll be talking about Luke.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you for coming by, man. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, now we've got Mark back here. And
Okay,
I love that guy. Can I tell you? He and I had the biggest age gap, probably of the kid characters on the 5th season. But he never once didn't say hi or give you a hug or connect with you on set. And I love that guy.
That's amazing.
A good
He was a pro. He was a pro to young kids and a young.
Oh, he sure was.
Yeah. Chuck, go ahead.
All right. Well, you know, Mark, you know, we've talked about this and about the scene and basically that Karen wrote. So Peter throws it to me. I'm going to talk to Karen about. Well, ask Karen to talk about what it was like.
Karen, can I personally thank you for writing that episode?
Oh, my goodness.
It was my favorite episode to actually work on as an actor because it gave me something, a conflict, and it gave me, as an actor, just as a professional, it gave me something that I hadn't really had up to that point, was that dynamic in the script. And it was such a great script. So thank you. Personally.
Thanks. Always.
Let me show the clip.
Nice to be. Well, just to set it up for a second, is this is from Injustice for All. This is season 4.
Season 5.
Season 5. Sorry, and Jesse was married to Andrea, and they have a baby, and he's in law school, and Steve is getting in trouble in court because of his involvement in the fire, which was a pretty long storyline.
All right, cool. So here's the clip of that.
But
I condition in the first place, I never would have agreed to waive my rights. Never.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Mr. Ted Stone would have made it worth your while.
and give up on the one thing that was most important to me? No way.
Steve, buddy, let me tell you about my day, okay? I'll just give you the backstory. A single father tries to get by on factory workers' pay. One night he trusts the wrong babysitter, and his kids get picked up by the cops for their own protection. Well, when a social worker looks into it, she decides there's no adequate, stable child care, so the judge throws him into a foster home for 3 months.
It's 3 months. It's not like it's 2 years.
Well, this family might as well be forever because the father doesn't ever think he's going to see his kids again.
Just explain to him they're in a foster.
I can't explain nothing to him now, man. He'd be gone. He'd be out of here. He went to that foster home, put his kids in his car, and drove them back to Mexico.
This system is so screwed up.
Wait a minute. The system works great for some people, man. I don't hear Griffin or Ted Stone complaining. You really, really think you got ripped off, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, maybe you did. But I'll just bet you, I bet you, if you weren't a rich white boy, you'd be sitting in jail right about now. So don't you ever tell me what a screwed up system we have. Do you hear me? Cheers.
Powerful stuff. I'm sorry, Chuck. I didn't mean to play the clip before you had to.
Yeah, it really is. And, I think that Larry and I in particular, we both looked at, everybody thinks of you relative to the plot lines with Andrea, the father, the trouble. But you see this scene and you realize, and I think the one thing that I think I mentioned this to you on one of our phone calls, Mark, that, all of these, one of the beautiful things about looking at the shows and the way we have through these video casts is getting a second look at things.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any actor in our ensemble who I have been more impressed with watching you in the range that you have. And this one really just stands out as much as any. I think that we, in one sense, in my memory, I had misjudged you. And every time I look at the film, I was, wow, did it just perfect.
Dude,
time again.
You just gave me probably one of the best compliments I've had in a long time. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
I just saw Sherry's comment was
Sherry's comment was great. Yeah,
amazing how this Jesse Steve scene could have also played out today in 2020. Well, unfortunately,
I was going to say that shot that was 5th season, so 94, 95, and 25 years later, we haven't gone anywhere.
No,
we haven't gone anywhere. You could say those same words tenfold now. We haven't really progressed, and it's heartbreaking.
But my feeling is that because of all the terrible circumstances that have happened in the first year and social justice on mine, maybe unlike when we said it in 94, 95, people are ready to listen.
Yeah.
So that's my only hope you can have.
Yeah.
I wanted to say to Mark also, I was looking at the episodes again, especially the pregnancy stuff, which is brought back to me because obviously a lot of it was my story, but having you be in a way going through the fears and the anxiety of the father who everyone forgets about because everyone's always concerned about the mother, and seeing some of those scenes where you talk about, I'm hoping that the baby's going to be a girl because it's got a better chance, and you're just trying to keep a happy face and stuff. And I just thought the work was extraordinary, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
That's really
it starts with the material. My job is just bringing the material.
Yeah, but there's a commitment level, and then there's it's talent. We're very fortunate to have great actors in this series.
We're going to move Mark along here. Thank you for coming in and hanging out through all of that. We definitely want to dive deep with you and talk about your character and stuff. So we're going to plot that out down the line, come back and do that. So
thank you, Mark.
I also agree with the guys. Your work is absolutely phenomenal in this series. So
thank you, pal. Appreciate it.
So
happy anniversary to you guys. Stay well, stay safe.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Telethon. 1 hour and 50 minutes. We're going.
Here's what we have next. Okay.
What's coming?
Right. Now, Jessica Shaw. Okay.
Hi.
We have Amy. Okay.
Amy Antangelo. TV gal.
All right here. Okay. But now something else is happening here. Okay. So this person's going to pop in because they just got through. Here's Matthew Peretta. Dan Rubin is with us.
The cad who took Gabrielle's virginity.
I know.
Yeah. So
cold.
I'm flabbergasted because Matthew, you were supposed to come on. I don't know what's happened. You were supposed to come on with Mark Damon Espinosa, and we were going to lord it over that you were with his wife before he was.
Right.
And technology screws us again. I'm telling you, world, analog was better. You punched a button, something worked.
I'm just happy that I made it through.
I used to not believe that, but it's true. Look at this. It's true. But it's great to see you, sir. You're looking great, Matthew.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So Matthew, for just we're going to ask you, looking back 30 years later, you had such a significant role on the show. First of all, do you still get recognized for this part of Dan Rubin?
I haven't, but since
thank goodness
quarantine, I grew my hair out. I haven't had long hair for like 25 years, and people are like, "Hey." I'm like, I my hair again.
So, looking back 30 years later, what is your take on the Beverly Hills 90210 show?
It was a phenomenon, right? I mean, everybody's still talking about it and people are still interested in it. For me, it was something that, I was just beginning. I was just starting my career and I learned so much there. I was terrified when I started, but it was, it's just, people love the characters and they love the show.
Well, Brenda says, "Damn, you look great, Matthew." So there you go. All of that's happening. All right, Matthew, sorry for this run and gun kind of scenario, but we will catch you some other time. We want to definitely dive deep.
Yeah, because I think that maybe Andrea made a mistake.
I should say, though, Chuck was very insistent that the first guy that Andrea slept with, she should not become married with. So that was why you were kind of the stalking horse in a certain way. You're going to get her ready for the next one.
I mean, just to get her pregnant like that, it just couldn't be the first time. It was,
we had to get her pregnant. We knew that.
Yeah. So Matthew, definitely come back with us, and we will chat more with you down the line. Okay.
Great. Thank you, guys.
You got it, man. Good seeing you. Okay, Matthew is gone, and Erin.
Hi, everyone.
Erin is okay. So Erin's from Today, right?
Yep.
And Jessica Shaw was with Entertainment Weekly, and Amy
Amatangelo is for Pace Magazine.
All right, and so we're going to drop a little surprise for you guys in here too. Say hello to Christine Elise.
Hi, Christine.
How are you?
She's been very patient. Yeah. I'm curious. The panel question that we want to know is to the writers that decided to join us today is why do you think, and then also from BuzzFeed, Brian is also with us. I'm curious, why do you think 90210 is still so popular today? Brian, let's start with you since you came in the room last.
I think because it was like the first real teen show that was also a little glamorous. I think, when it came to teen shows, there was, Degrassi, which was I think at the time, I don't even know where it aired here in the States, but then, this show was sort of a little MTV-ish. It was glamorous. It was about kids in Beverly Hills, and it sort of had a little bit of a dynasty vibe in a way, where it was aspirational and so kind of oh, I wish I had their lives. And I think that aspect of it makes it, very enjoyable. And there's nothing more that you love than hating rich people on TV.
How about for you, Erin? What do you think the reason is?
I mean, for those of us who grew up watching it, it was just one of those generation-defining shows. I started watching it when I was 9 when it first premiered, and at the time, it was really the only teen drama. I didn't have cable, and I hadn't seen Degrassi, and so for me, it was my introduction to teen TV dramas. And the other shows I was watching were Saved by the Bell and sitcoms, but 90210 was obviously much edgier. It had an authenticity. It was talking about issues I really hadn't seen on other shows. And I was just obsessed with it. It was just the show everyone watched. I watched it every week with my mom, and we would actually take the phone off the hook so we wouldn't have any interruptions during the episode because that's how we later did for Melrose Place too.
Amazing.
I collected all the merchandise. Like I had the Brendan Brannon dolls. I had trading cards. I had books that were like episodes adapted into novels, and I would, read them even though I'd watched it already. I had Teen Beat posters that worked out and all over my walls. And I also think the characters were very well defined. I think even as the storylines got a little more over the top, I think the characters and their relationships just felt very real, and viewers cared about them, and that's why we're still debating, Brenda versus Kelly all these years later.
Right.
And the dialogue was well written. There are so many lines from it that have just stuck with me, and I, can still quote now. And we were talking about the next 50 years earlier, and I still remember David's whole monologue at the end about, what about my old best friend? It's like so many of those quotes are just kind of, like stay with me. And also just the nostalgia factor. I think watching it now kind of brings back the same excitement I felt watching it for the first time. And it's like reuniting with old friends.
Awesome. Jessica, how about you?
I mean, I think I love this show dearly. I too was 9 when I watched it. I was like 99 when I started watching. But I think unlike every other show, it didn't condescend. It didn't talk down to people. It was like, hey, like we're not just going to have this like Brady Bunch, life of like, hey, Bobby Brady hall monitor. Like it was kind of real. This is friendship. This is Karen. You got me. So the hall monitor. This is what friendship is. This is what love triangles are. This is what like having, a talk about sex when you're in high school is. And it was never like pandering, like, and we're going to talk to the kids about what kid life is like. And so, everyone has BS radar, and no one's BS radar went off with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big compliment.
Amy, what's your thought on that question?
I think my big thing too is how groundbreaking it was. I think we forget how groundbreaking it was and all the topics that it covered. When you think about what over the span of the 10 years, all the amazing issues it took on that I think we kind of take it for granted because shows do that more now. But at the time, that wasn't the case. I think they really, when you think about even, the drug problems, the alcohol problems, cults, sex. I mean, also, I think there's a certain innocence too, right? Like Brenda and Dylan having sex for the first time was a huge deal. That would not be a huge deal on a teen show anymore. I think the other thing is it really is the granddaddy of all shows. I mean, we would not have Dawson's Creek or The OC or any of these other shows without 90210. And I think people don't always know that really what kind of paved the way for people realizing, hey, there's an audience for this type of show. Teens want to see this type of show. Like to Jessica's point, teens want to be treated seriously. And people who are no longer teens but want to remember those years. Because I watched, after I even outgrew the demographic, I still love those type of shows. So, I think all the shows that came after, even like Pretty Little Liars, a whole network, Freeform, like all those things, I think really owe a debt of gratitude for 90210 for kind of laying the groundwork for this type of show and a model for really how a successful soap opera could be for teens and taking their problems so seriously while also really educating the viewers that were so loyal to them. I think the show always bared the brunt of the responsibility of their audience and really took that their audience really needed to hear about these topics in a very serious way, which I always really appreciated.
Christine, I want to ask you the same question about 90210. Why do you think we're all still talking about it?
I think Brian kind of touched on that. Can you hear me very well?
Yeah, you're good.
Brian touched on it earlier with the whole simpler time thing. I think that it was a formative era for a lot of the audience. You guys were really young. I was 26, but you guys were really young. And I think it was a time that people are really nostalgic for, both that period of their own lives and that period in this country when entertainment wasn't the Kardashians and big fake asses and wealth and just fame for fame's sake. It was a much more sort of story-driven entertainment world. And I think people are nostalgic for that the same way I'm nostalgic when I watch an All in the Family. And that was the sort of show that I grew up on. And I think it also holds up really well. And and it's an era that also told us a chunk of the 70s were a whole different time in America and in entertainment, and that's sort of the iconic show from that era, and I have the same sort of, pitter pat in my heart for that show.
That's awesome, guys. All right,
another great compliment to.
Yeah, how's that guy? For Chuck and Karen and Larry? How do those things make you feel hearing all that stuff?
Well, the only one I would that went really, it was you, Brian, because if I had the budget for Dynasty, the show would have been a lot different. It was not Dynasty. There was low budget television in the extreme. No lowest license fee in television. In the first 2 years, you see it. The other thing I really have learned to love about 90210, really love about it, I don't care what episode it is, most of the ones I produced, you're going to find the boom in the shot. The boom is going to be in the shot. And I tell you, we are the only television show where the boom would be in the shot that would be talked about 30 years later. And I really feel that is a real reflection of my personality and my carelessness.
Yeah, I have one question.
It's like a drinking game. It's, you can watch and you can say when you see the boom, bottoms up.
I wonder for the writers, the press, how come there's no one else has had a successful college show since 90210?
And there was never one before it either, by the way.
That's so unique. I hadn't really realized that until we've been looking again. There's no one has an answer to this, but no one has had one.
No, because when I was in college, I was actually in the theater department at UCLA. And I thought, wow, what a great idea for a series, my life or, college life. And, that was, okay, graduated college. What year did I graduate? 77. So, the problem is that I was told and I had some access and I was told pitching it to people, no, that will never work. And there had never been one. Because the issues that matter to people of that age group are sex, drugs, rock and roll, and we can't do that on network television. That was, late 70s. That's what they thought. They thought the same way in 91, by the way, but we had a little more oomph. We had a little more oomph going in, and we could start to place it in a reality. Reality was behind television, so we tried to bring television a little bit up to what was really going on, or that's what Charles Rosin's main point was, his idea to do.
All right, we're going to say goodbye to our press panel. We have a lot more to get to, but thank you all, and please tell everybody about the Beverly Hills 90210 show.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Congratulations on 30 years.
Thank you, Jessica. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine.
Bye. Bye, Christine.
Oh, happy anniversary.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
We'll see you later. Okay. Bye. Now we have Lindsay Rosin.
Hi, guys.
This
I know you.
Here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
You look just like my granddaughter.
All right, Chuck, tell me what we're talking about here. You have some clips.
Just put it on. Play the clip, and then let's talk.
Okay, let's play the clip. Here we go.
You want to do a little hooky low, huh? Come on. You guys are weak.
Come on, Brandon. Let's go do the hooky low.
Huh? Robbing a cradle there, Brand. Well, at least Lindsay will dance with me. Come on.
That was Lindsay at age 5. In the first season of summer episodes, and
she was 6. She was 6. She was 91. Yes.
Then you're right. She was 6. Sorry, and that was the first of her playing girl number 1. But
give her a name.
Her name was Lindsay in that episode because Jason named her as he picked her up, which was really, really cute. And little fun fact, if you do watch that episode when everyone's doing the hooky low, we are in the back row doing the hooky low with her.
I have that clip too.
The hooky low starts swishing down in old Miami. When we go to the hooky low,
when the rain beats against my window.
Wrong clip.
Ooh, very cool stuff.
Bad
Right?
bad time code connection. Wrong clip.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's okay. We had Karen was dancing in the background, and our friends. We saw Steve Wasserman and Jessica Klein in the background, and and others you couldn't
I
see
like
in
that
the
shot.
but then we could see in the other where Lindsay's grandmother Helen was there. I was dancing there. Jonathan Roberts, one of our writer producers. So.
I can see a lot of people are saying hi in the comments. I just want to say hi. And it's funny because one thing I hear from fans all the time is I grew up on 90210. And I always say to them, I really grew up on 90210.
Literally. Well, here's somebody else who grew up on 90210.
Oh, really? Hi,
Randy.
Randy.
Hey there. Hi, everybody.
Oh, nice to
Sorry
see
for
you.
the technical issue there, but it's great to see you, man. It's awesome to have you here on the show. I got to ask you, Randy, what was that like for you growing up, hanging out on the set of 90210?
It was surreal because I got to see the inception of it and backstage, all the behind the scenes, everything coming together. And then I also watched the show as a viewer, as an audience member, and loved it. So I grew up behind the scenes, but I also grew up as a fan. So very surreal.
You were the target audience, actually.
Yeah.
I remember your dad saying that Randy and his friends call it the Big Nine. I don't know if you ever did, but the Big Nine in that first year. I remember him telling me
You were a frequent extra on set. I recall.
Yeah, a few times I would be on set and come and watch everyone or go into a party scene. One of the scenes I remember most vividly was the pilot where there was a party scene, and I remember going with my father to set, and he said, "Oh, it's just around the corner. It's somewhere in Bel Air, and we're gonna come with me." And at that point, I had not been on very many sets because all the other shows that he was doing a few years before, Dynasty and Love Boat and all these things, I just was too young to even appreciate what those shows were. So 90210 is my first foray into this magical, glamorous show.
That's awesome, man.
Then of course we got to create a character for him too. He got to play Ryan, which was the half brother of Steve, and it was great. He did so many good episodes, and I think we got you laid in one of them. I hope we did. Anyway, I know we tried to get you laid. I think you might have screwed it up. I can't remember. But
I probably screwed it up.
But you were actually playing Steve Sanders as a young man, because that was always the great conceit of it. Is that Steve would see you screwing up and realize, oh my God, that he's just the same way I was. I got to have a little bit more compassion for him. But yeah, we've been actually, in looking at the episodes, we got a chance to see some of your work. We looked at the New Year's Eve episode. There was some great fun stuff. You had a great feel for comedy. I really appreciated your work.
Did you like acting on the show and being Steve Sanders' brother?
I loved it. It was so much fun. And one of the things I appreciated about the show was everyone was so lighthearted in between scenes that it was fun. You and it was second nature to them. So here I come trying to memorize my lines and get that straight, and my heart's beating fast because, again, I'm not just acting on the show. These are my idols. I'm growing up taking advice of how to date from Luke Perry's character. And so I'm watching this and, heart's beating out of my chest, and everyone's just having fun, having a good time. Ian's cracking jokes in between.
Right.
So it was great fun.
Very cool.
It's funny.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
It's like Randy's kind of talking about life imitating art. Like I grew up, I was a little younger than the characters on the show, but after episodes would air, my parents would write certain episodes. I sort of grew up along with it. Like I remember when the condom episode aired, we had like my first sex talk was sort of like aligned with that. So I sort of grew up along with the issues that were being written about on the show. And then that's how I had my first exposure to those things. Like in my house growing up.
Well, when mostly when I was writing the show, a lot of times, and Karen knows this, you know, it was like, well, we've got these daughters at home and we want to project this image and these stories because in their future. Little did I know that 30 years later, you know, where the culture would spin out to. But I do feel that what we did in your generation, the millennials and those and yours, Randy, you know, you are the future, and hopefully the values that we espoused are now becoming vogue again.
Speaking of them being the future, Chuck, Lindsay, you are writing and doing amazing things on Zoe's. You want to talk a little bit about that show?
Yeah, I'm a writer on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which is a TV show on NBC, and we're just in the middle of working on the second season right now. The first season premiered last year. I think it's on streaming on Peacock or Hulu, so you guys should check it out. It's a really fun musical, drama, comedy, and it's a great time. So I'm honored to be writing for it and, you know, following the footsteps of some great writer genes in my family.
Well, I think
it's a show that Aaron would love.
Good. Glad you saw it.
Watch it, Randy, you said?
Oh yeah, it was strange. There was a premiere, and then there was a matter of months before the next one.
Yes.
I don't watch that much TV, but my wife and I saw it and loved it. We couldn't wait for the next one to be on. We watched every episode.
That's so cool to hear. I'm so glad.
It's a needed antidote to these times. It really is. It's amazing.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on. Do we have to?
I brought one cool thing, Pete. This is on the wall in my living room for all the super fans watching. This is the original title of the show was called Class of Beverly Hills.
Oh, yes.
And this was a placard from the transportation department that they would have had, you know, on set during the pilot. And I ended up with this. So I just wanted to show all the super fans.
Not for sale though.
Darren Martin, eat your heart out.
Yeah. Listen, also, hey, check out the store. We have a new shirt that kind of plays along with that so well. Thank you for setting me up there, Lindsay. I know you did that on purpose. But this for the 30th anniversary, we thought we'd make a very, very cool classic OG shirt. And I'm going to try to remove that shirt now. As we move on, so many moving parts. Okay, Randy, Lindsay, it was nice having you guys here, and we are moving on. Karen, are you leaving us as well?
I think so. Am I, Charles?
Yes.
I love you, baby.
Love you.
We all love you. Thank you.
Tell me the score of the game.
Thank you. I will tell. I won't tell.
Okay, we're all back here now. Chuck, this is moving very fast-paced.
Now we got to go.
Let's check the big board.
We needed a technical rehearsal with all the people. Can you get in? Can you get out? Can you get in? Can you get out?
Yes, exactly. All right, I'm going to show you some more people. Where are they today? And then we're going to jump into our next segment.
What have I been doing since? Since when? Since I got out? Since I broke my knee? Since the fire? Since I got divorced, since I couldn't get back into Mexico anymore. Since is a long time, brother. Did manage to get back in the water, though. Catch a wave and you're sitting on top of the world. Corniest expression in the world. It is so true. I've never felt a rush like that. Not until Suzanne and I took that cool $8 million from sweet little Dylan. I'll tell you, when we saw those funds transfer into our account, my whole body became alive. Talk about sitting on top of the world. I owned the world. Freedom, brother. For a while. I don't think I thought how tough it would be with the kid. Having to watch your back all the time. But was it worth 3 years in jail for the years I spent living the pirate's life? I'll tell you what, I got out and I said, fair enough, tit for tat. And then reality set in. Who are you? What are you? What are you going to do? There's not a lot of teaching or research jobs for an ex-con in his 40s. But I became a hell of a car salesman. Who'd have guessed it, right? Exotic cars. I hated it. Quit. And then I finally managed to get some of my money out of Mexico. Don't tell Suzanne. And I bought this little shack by the beach. Here I am, sitting on top of the world. Yo ho ho.
Okay, that was great.
Kevin,
All right, let's bring our other
crime does pay, I guess.
Zara. Canada is in the house.
You made it.
Wow, you got dressed
You
up.
made it
That's
to
what I
the
wanted to
show.
wear.
We love having you here. And Zara, the reason, much like Darren Martin, the reason why we brought you on the show was because we wanted to tell you that since we started doing this show, we have fallen in love with you. We think that you are an absolutely amazing person. Congratulations on your graduation. And we really do think the world of you here. We think of you as almost our #1 fan. Now, if you recall, I asked you about your favorite guest stars. Do you remember that?
I think I did. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so we're just waiting for her to get into her seat. Okay. Yeah, let's I can see it happening here in the thing. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put her on the screen. She's not on here yet, but it will be Dana Barron.
Yay.
Hello. That's not Dana.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Dan Barron.
See and hear you. Yes.
All right. I am not Dana Barron.
Yes.
I'm not nearly as good looking as Dana Barron. But I'm helping her set up the camera. So hold on real quick. She's just getting settled. Hold on.
Okay.
And all of us.
Otter, come here.
Come here, Otter.
She wants to see Otter. Come here, Otter. Say hi.
Right.
Oh,
there we go. What a very nice moment. You know what? While we wait for Daniel Barron, let's see another awesome person. Where are they today?
I stayed with the FBI after 90210. And my assignment was to find if Jack McKay was alive. And I stayed on that case for 20 years. Until I saw an episode on Hulu from season 10. I immediately resigned from the FBI. And I've been in therapy ever since.
She is. Okay. My God. I love that.
Hi.
Hello.
Stop it.
Dana Barron, meet Zara Brown, one of your biggest fans. Zara, do you have anything that you would like to say to Dana?
Who's speaking?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say I admire you. Your acting on 90210 is like amazing, and I'm just so blessed to like be a part of the show as a fan.
Thank you.
I have no words. But
That's amazing.
Wow. I've got goosebumps.
Me too. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dana, 30 years since, well, not since you were on 90210, but 30 years of 90210. Yeah. What is your thoughts on this celebration and on the anniversary?
It's really fun to be part of these anniversaries because, as you all know, I was Audrey in Vacation, and the 40th is coming up not in a very short time. So now at the 30th, I'm doing all these wonderful look backs on our lives and our acting for so long now. It's wild.
Yeah. Do you have any great memories from being on the show, being on 90210?
Great memories, of course. Yes.
Do you want like stories of?
Yeah, give me a great.
Having to do with the Louvre. I shared a story recently. Had to do with I was in Paris, and I was with a friend who was a German star, and we went to the museum, the Louvre, and we had more attention than the main paintings there. It was unbelievable, the publicity and the fun and the people. It was wonderful.
Everybody is saying such beautiful things about you here, Dana. Dana looks great.
I was out and I'm like, oh, it's almost 6-ish. Wow. So I look a little ratty and ragged and whatever.
What is your favorite episode that you were able to be a part of?
My favorite, when I was trying to get Brandon to dance, and there was a scene that we had when I was just cute and fun and free-spirited. That's what I was saying. Who is Nikki? A wonderful free spirit. That she dressed the way she wanted to dress. She spoke the way she wanted to speak. It wasn't about the popular. It wasn't about anything but who she was as a person. And I think the fans like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chuck, do you have any memories of working with Dana back in the day?
Absolutely. I think that in truth, this is just how I look at it. In the last episode that we did, or we did the one Wild Horses, when you discover that your boyfriend was abusive.
Yes.
That was supposed to be the B story. I wish we could have even cut it more to be the A story, because you were terrific in an episode that was very, very uneven. And I really always and then I've just recently, one of the things that's so nice about doing this with Larry and Pete, we look at episodes we haven't seen, and I'm the way that you acted in excitement of how to Brian singing Precious and Few, I think was really, really you're precious to me, I'm precious to you, we're precious. And you're sitting there going, "Oh, this is great!" Right from the start, and then shifting, of course, from David Silver to Brandon Walsh was
right, very true.
What are your memories of working with Jason?
He reminded me, it sounds silly. I'm from New York City, and he was very outspoken, almost like a Jersey boy. He didn't hold back. He was very honest and very. At that time, I think he's directing now. He was very into looking at the lightings and trying to figure out what was good or not, or. He was very directorial and fun, and it just made my part easier.
Yeah.
Because he is just very open to having fun and acting. And I think Chuck remembers I used to try to slip in certain lines that I wanted to do as Nikki and certain way I dressed because I made my own clothes. I don't know if you remember that. I was always constantly going with the designers to go and then sew my own stuff or make it smaller or big or whatever. And so that was really fun for me.
Mm-hmm, I do. And I remember that you approached us with the idea of having all the cast go to Africa. Or do you remember that at all?
Right. African. I still have my djembe in the other room. Yes. I was a lead African dancer in New York, and drum and music. That's always been my thing. So, and I was thinking now she would go to India because of Buddhism or whatever, be more fun. Who was Nikki now 30 years later? And that's what I was trying to think. Who would she be now? What direction would she take? Something in art, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then how about working with Brian?
I always saw him as the young kid who was very talented in music. And so it was more like, once again, extreme. Everyone was very friendly. And sometimes we were like joking around. I think one time we did fun scuffle where we were just like there's these long hallways we used to shoot in, or the hangar we shot in. Just fun. Yeah. Fun, but younger fun, but now he feels like he's a man now. But just a young kid. As you know, I was older playing younger, and these days I don't know if you can get away with that. But as there's certain other characters, I won't throw them under the bus, that were older than I was playing the same age. But at that time, I was playing 15, I think.
Right.
With the seniors.
Well, listen, Dana, Zara, thank you both for popping in here. Much appreciated. We are going to move along. We have a lot more to get to. Dana, you look absolutely stunning as always. So thank you.
Thank you. Like, it's like literally I'm running around like we gotta set it up.
All right. Bye-bye, guys. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. So now, hey, Chuck, I am going to now, because we're still waiting for some of our next panel to get here. I am going to play the second part of the tour that we went on that Melanie Rose put together.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Melanie with 90210 Tours and 90210 Hunts. Right now we're at the Calvert Street Studios, which were the sound stages for many of the scenes for 90210. This is where the magic happened.
So where we're standing now, inside the Calvert studio, is half of what was the producer's office, where Paul Wagner, who was the line producer of the show, would have his office here. And why I'm bringing you in here? Because this is where we did casting. Every character after season 1 was cast out of this room.
It's the warehouse when it was started by Chuck and the original company. And when I came in college, this housed all the interiors for California University. We're talking about all the big cafeteria stuff and all the classrooms. And we have the Walsh house in here, the beach apartment, Dylan McKay's interiors at his house. Lucky enough to be able to purchase another stage, which was now that says Genie there, but that became the Pitch Pit After Dark. In season 4, Josh Richland is talking to Brandon outside the Pitch Pit After Dark and drives out to the right and has his big fatal accident.
So when you're in a production, one of the things you don't want to do is move your trucks. It costs a lot of money. So we would try to always figure out what can we do right here and shoot. So Slumber Party, the nightclub, this was it. Right here, the street, if you just pan to my left right here, this street is where Steve Sanders got into a drag race. When we did the rave episode in Euphoria, which was one of our highest rated episodes in the first 5 seasons, and the club was right across the way.
We are here at Roxbury Park. I'm with Charles Rosin, and can you guess what scenes were filmed here?
I'll give you a hint. Yep. This is the place exactly where we're standing, where Kelly and Dylan told Brenda they were an item. And we're in the middle of Beverly Hills. You'd think a show called Beverly Hills 90210 would film a lot in Beverly Hills. I can count it on one hand how many times we actually came here. But the reason we love this is because when they walked away, the camera turned and tilted and showed the skyline that is so predominant here. That is Century City and right behind us.
Well, that was a lot of fun. I know we have one more of those we'll try to get in. But hey, look who's here. Chip Johannesson.
Hi.
Hi. Happy anniversary,
David
Chip.
Semmel.
David Semmel.
Got the power back.
Hey,
And-
Ben Egan.
Hey.
So we don't have Bethany, but
Bethany and Michael.
That's right.
We're great to see you three guys.
Great.
And, in the telethon marathon world we thought we would be doing this whole real serious panel about television and different things, and realized when all the actors kept, I want to come on. Oh my gosh, that we changed it. So what this is now is kind of me being Ralph Edwards and honoring you and thanking you for what you did for us by showing some of the stuff you did and reminiscing in that way. So I think we should start with Chip, was always the one we were going to start with first.
Right.
Larry, let's watch the scene that we talked about from Senior Poll. And then I think Larry has actually a fan wrote me something recently that really didn't want to talk to me. He wanted to talk to Chip. So we got Larry to read that for you.
This is the
so
clip
why don't we
that
start
Chip-
right there, Pete?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, hey, good looking now. Is this what you had in mind?
No, can I talk to you?
Hey, Dylan, don't go too far away. You're on deck. What's the matter?
When do I get to read your manuscript?
Well, I told you when it's ready.
Why is it done enough for Andrea to read?
Because she's my editor, and she's the one that got me into writing in the first place.
Then why don't you go to bed with her?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that I really resent being good enough to sleep with, but not good enough to show your writing to.
Okay, I will show it to you, all right?
Not because you value my opinion, only because you want me to shut up, right?
Hey, McKay, where are you going? Hey, I'll be right back. Kel, listen, I don't know what's going on with you, but I do value your opinion.
No. You value the way I look and the way I dress and the fact that I have sex with you, but you don't listen to a thing I say.
I don't listen to you? Who was I listening to when I picked up this ridiculous hat and this stupid cane? I don't want to have this picture taken anyway.
Fine, we won't take it.
I want to take it.
Well, then don't forget to smile for the camera.
Wow, I love that stuff. Chip, go ahead.
Senior Pole is just an episode that is more and more you look at, and we did a lot of second looks, that people just are really, especially given that there's kind of a Brenda Kelly dichotomy, you give all the ammunition or at least talking points to the people who love the Kelly-Dylan relationship, because there was never a moment that it was better than in Senior Pole. I think Larry has the confirmation.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a gal, Chelsea from Vancouver, and because there's obviously this huge debate about the triangle, who the end couple is. Is it Dylan and Brenda, or is it Dylan and Kelly? And the Dylan and Kelly fans, they have seized upon you, Chip. You are their man, because you seem to have written the scenes that they hold on to the most. And Chelsea said some interesting things in her letter to Chuck. And one of them was that you elevated the blonde, partly because you're married to a blonde, as you admitted, I guess, in some interview.
Yeah,
maybe
it was all her, man. She was the one.
Yeah. So, but they hold on to that. And there's so many other scenes in that where, she wrote like a 2-page thing. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you are the Dylan Kelly writer that they all go back to when they're justifying their point, and they fight these points over in the fan forums all the time. So you're the most quoted guy on that stuff. I just want to know that they love you. And of course, I personally, enjoyed writing with you. As you know, we had a lot of fun together doing the weirder stuff, the cult stuff, and the Lucinda stuff. And it was just a pleasure to go back and look at this stuff with you.
I chose that scene because you were saying, like, what did we learn at 90210? What did we take away? What did we leave behind? That is like a very meat and potatoes kind of scene, right? Like Kelly shows up with something on her mind. She articulates it to him. He kind of presses back on it. And then at the end, she storms off with kind of a parting line. And I was struck by, I remembered Senior Pole kind of fondly because it goes from that scene, which has a lot of energy, into one that's much more poetic. When he catches up with her and explains what she means to him, it's not what we expect. He says that kind of for the first time in his life, he's happy with her. So it's this thing that not only is she wrong that he doesn't respect her, but there's something much bigger lurking behind the whole thing for him. So it's a matter of where the scene goes. But like for me, this scene was something I couldn't do at the beginning of the season when I was hired as a staff writer. I didn't know how to do that. And I was always trying to get to something artsier. And Chuck at one point, I remember, was like very frustrated. And he said, look, we were trying to do a Brenda Kelly scene as part of the same triangle. He said, look, this is what you do. What is Kelly thinking? Have her say that. What does that make Brenda think? Have her say that. Now, what is Kelly thinking? Have her say that. And it's the best advice I've ever gotten about how to write, because it just totally changes. It gives you everything you need to do a scene like that, the two-hander, which is why it shows that one. And that the energy of that.
I know I had a few phrases, and one of them was, what is the character's state of mind, and how does the audience know this? And if it's almost like every scene, if you just go through that, it at least gives you a jumping off point.
State of mind is always
the thing I really took away from 90210. That's the same if you're writing anything. It's the basic two-hander, right? It's like the first building block you have to get. And so I like that scene because it's Kelly and Dylan, but also for me personally, it made me realize I'd sort of learned something in the first season there. I was beginning to understand what you have to do a little bit.
Well, thank you. And I just want to make clear, one of the things we wanted, two other people, we still hoping will come and join us, and Dan Addies couldn't be here today with us, but
we had Dan and David I ran into on Homeland again, in the last. David, you were like in the early seasons, but Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, bud.
Well, that's the point. All these people here did work on 90210 and then went on to win Emmys, nominated for Emmys. Hank just won. We're going to talk about Hank next, I think, because he just won an Emmy for Watchmen.
Right.
And it's hard for me to even imagine today. Chip's season on Homeland. Chip is the producer of Homeland, and he is Homeland. It was phenomenal. And you guys barely got recognized because there's so much content. And different things come and go. So for anybody to be recognized in this era of the platforms, it really takes some skill. And you always had that, Hank.
Well, I was just thinking when I was watching all of this, I still remember meeting you on the Warner Studio lot in Hollywood. You had a writer room there, and I was so poor I had to buy a pair of pants to go meet you. And I'm going, why would he ever hire a guy who has no experience, who was very young and does a couple of indies and industrials and documentaries, and all of a sudden I'm on this show. For me it was a very important show because it was the beginning, so to speak. It was
right.
really
and we're going to want to have you back and really talk about some of the episodes that you did and look at it from a post-production editorial point of view. But I love the fact that when you decided to, and Hank did a lot of really serious episodes in those first 2 seasons, which one should we use? His suggestion was the one that we have here, right?
Which one is it, Chuck? It's
One Man and a Baby? We got it?
Let me see. No, I don't have it. I don't have that clip. Move on. Yes, it's not here.
Ay, caramba, the producer made a blunder.
Did not give me that.
Yeah. I am so sorry, Hank. But it's the one, fans, you know it. It's the one where they they fall out of the plane and they wrestle, and when they do the skydiving. And from a production standpoint, and David and Larry, who are producers, will really understand this, is that Duke Vincent told me that there was no way we could do what was on the page. There was no way anybody would do that for less than $30,000. They did it for a lot less than $30,000, maybe like $1,000. We got 2 takes. And so it makes the pride, but the beautiful way it was cut. And I'm sorry we can't share it.
Sorry about that.
But we will be doing a one when you come back with us when Biden is president.
I'll come back to you.
Come back. Yeah, great.
Who do you want to go to now? Do you want to show David Semmel his clip?
I think it's Dave and Larry time here.
All right, let's show David the clip that they picked out for you.
Hey, David Semmel. Remember me? The amateur youth director? The Rolling Stones roadie who threw Ray Pruitt 1P off the Rose Bowl stage? Get out of here! After that aired, that became my catchphrase, and I have you to thank. Man, I hear you're having a fantastic career, and I'm not surprised because look at the performance you got out of me. Now, people apparently want to know what I'm doing 30 years later. Well, I am finally off the road and living large with my old lady. I'm dog sitting for the lead singer of, you know who.
Honey, come and get it!
Get out of here!
I have to say, Larry, you seem a lot more content now that you're off the road.
I'm off the road. Well, I mean, it's true. It's true. I am off the road.
Hey, can I just say a quick hello? And it actually dovetails into the question that I was asked by you guys in prep, to prep for this about, as Chip had said, what did I get? What did I take away from 90210? And like Hank, I did have a pair of pants, but unlike Hank, I did have a pair of pants, but like Hank, it was my first entree into 1 hour, and I have Charles and Larry, you guys, to thank for that. And it really was sort of the beginning of everything I learned. And as I look at the screen right now, what I think is even cooler than that is that Chip and I worked together on Homeland, as he said. Hank and I have worked together a number of times. He's saved my tail a number of times on a bunch of pilots. And Mike, hey, Cudlets, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
We've had.
Sorry, yes. Hi, Mike. How are you? Yeah.
Good. He snuck in there.
Yeah.
We've had the good fortune to work together before, and as I think about all the things I've done, there's been a lot of seeding that began at 90210. So, as we all know, and as you kind of make your way through this business, it's sort of the relations you collect and hopefully lean on when you go off and do other things. So it just makes me realize in no small way, a lot of that started at 90210.
Yeah, I mean,
Can
David
I say something
also,
about David's? I think it was your first episode there. I remember hanging out with you behind, like where the Peach Pit After Dark place was, or behind there for some reason. I was just very aware that everything looked better that you were doing than our normal episodes did. You were like on longer lenses, and it was just like it looked beautiful, man. It was like it was.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
Your
it was
first
immediately out of the gate better than.
Oh, that's very nice, Chip.
which was the first show? Was it Rayvon? Was it Rayvon the first one, or?
No, it was Divas, I think.
That was after. No, Divas would have been after. Rayvon would have been before that.
It might have been Rayvon.
I think Rayvon would have been.
That's very nice of you to say, Chip. But the other thing that I really realized when I was thinking about it is that there were so many great directors that you brought into that show, Chuck. And my original role as associate producer, which was overseeing post-production, gave me I took any excuse I could find to come to set, and I basically just sat and watched all these great directors. And there were so many things that I took and learned from them about how they might rehearse, about how they would shoot. In the case of Jimmy Whitmore, I literally took from him how he said the word action. And I remember saying to him one time, I'd say, hey, why do you say action the different ways you do? Sometimes you say it really loud and excited, and sometimes you say it really quiet, and sometimes you say it maybe a little, lost or something like that. And he'd say, well, that's my last chance to communicate with the actor.
Yep.
I thought, that was kind of cool.
Yes,
I'll
that's
take that
good.
and put that in my quiver.
Right. Well, we one of the directors that you would have admired and emulated. We have the clip from Stormy Weather, because even though we don't have,
I have 2 clips from Stormy Weather. I'm just going to take a shot and hope it's the right one.
You're a hypocrite. You're a con artist, and you're a pimp.
I see. So 10 minutes with the ever unstable Greg Jarrett, and suddenly I'm the devil incarnate?
You tried to get me to sleep with Dylan so you could get his money.
I tried to put you and McKay together because you belong together.
So you're not denying it.
It wasn't as though I had to twist your arm, Kelly.
When you told me that the new evolution could help Dylan open up, I thought you were talking about his soul, not his checkbook.
Enlightenment doesn't come cheap.
Neither do I.
Kelly, wait a minute. You've come so far, Kelly. Don't regress.
Don't tell me what to do.
Fine. You're free to go. But you'll be back.
Don't hold your breath.
Give my best to Dylan. Or is it Brandon?
Kelly, can you give me a hand over here, please? Please?
We just got 12 new referrals. It's going to be crazy here this weekend. Kelly.
That's good, yeah. I wanted to give the moment. Bethany Rooney, it's not just a man's club. Everybody who knows 90210 knows that we had a lot of female input. And Bethany, our other director who was going to be here, that was her scene and moving the camera. And she was there in the first 12, and that was from the 5th season. Speaking of the first 12, Michael Cudlitz was there from the first 12. And I really wanted Michael to be here. If you realize and look at the disciplines, you've got a director, a writer, post-production represented, and Michael representing not the us, the crew, but the acting community. And there was when you popped on, everybody went. I saw a few people say Tony Miller, and I think we've got the one scene. Am I right, Pete? Do we got
Yes,
that one?
I have Cudlitz. Here we go. Let's hope this is the right one.
Yo, Miller. So what's poker game? Oh, I've been meaning to talk to you about that, Walsh. There might not be one. Why not? Well, I heard through the grapevine that one of the most gorgeous girls in this school doesn't have a date for prom. And I think I'm gonna ask her.
Miller, I thought you said you didn't want to go to the prom.
Well, I did with this girl.
Who is she?
Your sister. Brenda, I hear you're not going to the prom. Say it isn't so.
Oh, who cares? I don't know why everybody makes such a big deal out of it anyway.
Well, me either. So how about going with me?
What?
Look, I'll go all out. Tux, limo, corsage, whole 9 yards.
I don't know.
Let's just go and have a good time. I love to dance.
Yeah? You too. All right, I'll go with you, Tony.
You will?
That's amazing.
That is every man.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know
Every
if
guy
I
has
love
gone
the
through
hair
that
or
at
the
some
shirt
point.
more.
And Michael was building the sets when he was doing that scene, and we talked to Betty Reardon. Betty will be on in the last hour talking a little bit about Paul, and made the point of something you said, Michael, that we just were so admiring of you, both being the working guy and a prospective actor, that whenever you needed to do an audition, my producing partner Paul Wagner would just say goodbye, go Mike, and I remember then seeing you left 90210 and then going to a movie at the Writers Guild Theater and sitting down to watch A River Runs Through It, and it's, what do you mean Michael Cutlitz is in this? And there he was doing scenes with Robert Redford and Brad Pitt, I think, right? So really,
He
really
wasn't only in it, Chuck. He was fantastic, and he held his own.
Absolutely. And when I think of you guys, I mean, one of the reasons I wanted you, Bethany, certain people I think bring me just a lot of pleasure, a lot of thank you, a lot of people who just always seemed happy to hear from me or talk to me and stuff, and it meant a lot. And I wanted to honor you guys and Bethany and Dan and others too, but you guys came on the show, so I'm honoring you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
awesome,
it.
guys.
And care very much, and thank you very much for being part of this 90210 world that we're in.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Okay, bye-bye to these guys. We are about to blow the roof off this place because you can hang out here, Chip.
Chip, you can hang out. You want to hang out?
I can go.
Oh, no, he's gone. Oh, he's there. And who else is here? A standing ovation. Standing ovation.
And David
Jamie
Hamill,
Walters.
which was his first director.
Jamie Walters.
Hey, Jamie.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jamie. We wanted to start this whole segment with you singing Why? And because it's one of my favorites. James Eckhouse actually directed it. It is so fucking great, but we can't do it because who will kick it off? Remember, we Facebook
We have Jamie Walters here, but Facebook will shut it down.
Yeah, it's unfair. But so we can't do your music, but we wanted to focus so much saying hello to you, but also just we were fans of your music. Every single one of us,
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that. And it's good to see you guys. I mean, it's been forever, and I see you guys. You look great. Everybody looks great.
Yeah, that's right.
Likewise.
David, do you remember directing Jamie at the Rolling Stones show? That's why I kind of kept you here to see.
Oh my God, are you kidding? That was amazing. I mean, to watch Jamie play, in front of the empty but cavernous Rose Bowl on the Rolling Stone stage after they had played there the night before. I can only imagine what it was like for him, because it was a hell of a thrill for me.
Yeah, me too. It was crazy. I mean, I that was definitely a high point of the show for me, being that episode. And as crazy as it was shooting at the Rose Bowl and kind of our guerrilla filmmaking that we were doing at that episode, but to be up on that stage and to walk around, and it was like being in church or something, being on that stage, and their instruments were set up, and that was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a very exciting, one of my favorite Dave Semmel shots, in fact. And we were talking about it. We talked earlier in one of the early podcasts, Jamie, is when you and Tori run out of the tunnel at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And it's time to exactly them opening, and he had the visual there, and it's very exciting. It really, at that point in time, before a lot of Photoshop and things, that you just wanted to put something down on the thing that said, we were here, and we were here. And it was David's guerrilla idea to do that guerrilla filmmaking that really allowed us to shoot while this was going on. And nobody really bothered you while you were doing it, Dave, did they?
No, it was fun. I mean, I think people were kind of shocked to see us, but excited, you know.
Right.
Well, I will say, you know, there was one part where I had to go because I think it was Ian, and I can't remember who he was with, but they were dancing kind of in the mosh pit that was part of the show.
Right.
And I didn't know this in advance, but because I was running from location to location to try to, like Jamie says, you know, get these shots guerrilla style. And I didn't know, but there was about a 6'5", 240-pound guy who was assigned to me that was sort of clearing out anybody that was in the way, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, you're like, people are really giving me a lot of respect here. This is awesome.
All right,
you're in the Rose Bowl. You're in the Rose Bowl. You had your own pulling guard. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna say goodbye to David and Chip and just hang out with Jamie for a little bit and talk about some of your music and all that. All right,
guys.
Goodbye, David. Goodbye, Chip.
Goodbye, Chip.
Yeah, Jamie. It's awesome to have you here. You're very hard to find. I don't know if you know that.
Well, Pete, thanks for doing the work and finding me and getting me on here. I'm really not hard to find. I'm literally in public all the time, but
fair enough. Right. Yeah. How is that? I'm sorry. How is all that going for you with the fires out here and all that?
Yeah, I work for the Los Angeles City Fire Department for the LAFD. And while we're a large department, they're able to send like 30 companies out of the city to these different fires, but we still maintain our coverage here in LA. So I've been lucky. I primarily have been staying in the Los Angeles area, which is great for me because, you know, I live with my kids. I have teenage daughters that I live with, and it's nice to not have to go away for long periods of time. So, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's this? I mean, listen, man, your music is absolutely incredible. I still listen to it all the time, and I just think the world of you, man. You're just you're so great on the show. I'm wondering what the experience was like for you, playing the music, being the artist on the show, and all that.
You know, we're talking about a different time, really. And back then, I just remember that it was constantly this battle of, are you an actor or are you a musician? You know, and nowadays it's like if you're not doing that, then you're crazy, right? Like,
yes,
you're supposed to have an album out and be attacking this from every angle. But, you know, I got to give it to Darren Spelling for casting me on The Heights originally, having success with the music on that show. And even though the show didn't end up lasting very long, he brought me on to 90210, and I was able to carry my music with me there. And I loved it. I mean, the Peach Pit and kind of ending most episodes with a song and then a video as the credits ran. It was exciting for me, you know. I mean, that's my love, you know. And so to be able to play songs that, you know, I've written or co-written with people and reach that kind of audience was just amazing, you know. And I still, to this day, I mean, it's been years and years, and I still what an experience, you know. And especially, like, you know, my life changed a lot, and, you know, I went into a completely different line of work, but people still come up to me, and guys that I work with, you know, big burly firemen and stuff, and I go, dude, that How Do You Talk to an Angel song, you know, or like, you know, I remember, you know, going out with, you know, my date and listening to that song. So, yeah, I just have the best memories from that time period, and so glad that I was able to have those experiences, create that music, get it out there. And like you said, you know, I hope that there's people like yourself, people that still enjoy it. For the most part now, I still play, but it's mostly like at home. I'm teaching my kids a lot about music, and you know, I got 4 kids, and they all play a little bit. We have piano, we have a drum set, we have guitars, bass. We have a little family band here, you know.
The Walters family band, absolutely. You know, that sounds great. How old are your kids, Jim?
They are 13, 15, 17, and 22.
Perfect.
Maybe we can arrange here one day virtually. Now everything's virtually. a Jamie Walters concert virtually for all
with
of our
with your kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love to see it. Yeah. I was going to ask you who you jammed with. I thought, oh, he probably goes, at a smoky bar or a barn somewhere. Your own room with your children. That's a dream. That's a wonderful thing.
It is. I'm sorry.
Someone's asking, "Hold On" was the best. The song "Hold On" becomes very important on the show of 90210, especially with the stuff with you and Tori. Tell me about writing "Hold On" and what it was like to be performing that song on the show.
I remember working at 8295 Sunset Boulevard, which was the studio that I would record at. And I had a little office there, and it was kind of my writing room. And I remember very clearly kind of coming up with that lick in the beginning of Hold On and starting to kind of craft this song, and then working with Steve and Stephanie Tyrell. And Stephanie, she's passed away, but man, did we have a connection. And she was just great at really taking my emotions and helping me craft my ideas and my lyrics into a more kind of commercial form, and that's a gift that people are good at that. And some people are not so good at that. And she was really able to help me with that. And then Steve, his connections, Barry Coughing, there are a lot of guys involved over there that really, I was a kid, I was like 21, 22 years old. I was learning a lot about the business, and I hadn't grown up here or kind of had any mentors. So it was just great. Like I remember recording that song. Holy cow, man. That actually sounds pretty good,
Yeah, we did a lot of times on the show. We did it at least 3 times, I think.
Yeah,
that was the one we played the most, I think.
Yeah,
Larry, it's probably the song I get asked to play the most by people for, people call me, hey, I'm gonna ask my girlfriend to marry me, or
nice.
And people reach out to me sometimes, and when it's possible, I love being a part of something like that.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's very awesome.
I mean, Jamie was the blue collar hope of the show. I mean, that was, when we brought him in there, that was the whole idea. When you're talking about Stephanie Tyrell, I was thinking you also worked with Carolyn McWilliams, who also passed away. She played Luann, your mother. I was wondering, how was that to work with her? I mean, do you remember her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember her. She was funny. I felt like we had this little connection, kind of like that we didn't really fit in with the rest of the characters on the show. And we exchanged a lot of little behind the scenes jokes with each other. And
absolutely, you guys were Rosita. You were,
and the funny thing was, she was married to Michael Keaton. I mean, she was not a trailer trash.
Yeah, no slouch. Yeah,
she was a good actress who played that trailer trash thing. Because we've been looking at those episodes, and she really, you guys together, are hilarious, really.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie.
Mary, I found out about her that she had passed away at the first time I went to the Venice Farmers Market, and I was crossing the street with someone, and I told her I was 90210, and it was her. That woman I was crossing the street with remained a good friend, and she was her best friend.
Right.
She was, and Luann's best friends.
You don't have to do this, but this keeps popping up in the board. Would you sing the chorus of "Hold On"?
Oh shit, he's gonna do it.
Twist his arm. Twist that man's arm.
Oh man, I'm getting chills now. Jesus.
Let's see.
We were so excited to see this the first time you played this. We couldn't believe the gift.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to see you ever sad, and everything I've got you can have. So will you take my hands and feel how close I am? 'Cause there ain't nothing I won't do for you. Hold on till you feel a little stronger. Hold on to me. Hold on, everything's gonna be alright. Just hold on to me tonight.
All right.
Oh, man. That's fantastic. I like the version of it, too. The phrasing was great.
Thanks for letting me do that.
No, thanks for doing that.
Jesus.
All right, Jamie, we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Can you come back again?
I got your number.
Come back.
Yeah,
because we got to go. We got to do the deep dive on the
really
character.
fun, and it was great to see you guys, honestly.
Awesome, man.
We heard you play hockey with Cameron Bancroft.
What's that?
We heard that did you used to play hockey with Jason and Cameron Bancroft?
Yeah.
I never realized you were a hockey player, but you're from Massachusetts, that's right.
Yeah, it's in my blood.
Yeah, they were very fond of you.
I still play out here. I played for the LAFC has a team. I played for them for a long time.
Oh, great.
That's fun.
Yeah, I played too.
That went over very well, by the way. Goosebumps. This is, that seriously made my week. So thank you so much, man.
You got it. We'll see you guys again soon. Take care.
Bye, Jamie.
See you, buddy.
Bye,
Bye. All right, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh my!
That was amazing.
Absolutely.
That's one of my favorite songs, actually. All right, so here is what we're gonna.
I'm gonna go turn on another light. It got night. We do this.
We don't usually.
Daylight savings time.
But listen, while we do that, we have another one of these "Where Are They Now" pieces. So here we go.
There we go. Hello, Director Roy Randolph here. How are you all? It's been a while. I should update you on what I've been up to. Well, I am now Professor Emeritus at the Roy Randolph Royal Academy of Acting, or RA, as we like to call it, because everyone knows you can't have drama without drama. Yes, and I was fortunate enough to marry a fantastic lady who's titled. Her father is a baron. So we live on the baronial estate, which is fantastic because I get to direct productions of Shakespeare in the grounds. I call it Shakespeare in the field, and it's fantastic because we have battles, we have horses, and those peasants who are ploughing, they're really ploughing. It works so well. Well, I just want to give a big shout out to all of the marvelous people that I met in Beverly Hills all those years ago. Happy anniversary to all of you, to all of us. And I hope you're having a great time. This is Roy Randolph signing off.
Yeah, Roy, well done. I mean, I'm glad he got dressed up.
Everybody that's still
he didn't add the part that I think Brenda did one of the productions there. When he wrote me an email, he told me that she had done Kate from Taming the Shrew, and actually Dylan had come to the opening.
That's what I heard. Dylan McKay went to see him perform.
I know we are beyond 7 o'clock now, right? We pushed through 7 o'clock, but I want to let everybody know, you all think that the surprises are over.
No, they're not.
No, there's a massive surprise, and I see you waiting. Just chill there because we got a couple of more things to do. You guys are going to be blown away by the other surprise. So, okay, so Chuck, we have a few memorials to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to turn it to the people who couldn't be with us tonight. They have to be with us in spirit. And we did a couple together, and we had so many different ways we planned this out, so many other people we wanted to give tribute to. But for our first go-round here are 4 people to be remembered.
Okay.
Well, Aaron had such dimension as a human being. He grew up poverty-stricken, and by the time I met him and any of us knew about him, he was vastly wealthy, somewhat mysterioso, and very idiosyncratic, and the Civic went on of television at the time. He had more shows on than anybody. They called ABC Aaron's broadcasting company. When I think of Aaron, I have little tiny memories like him doing this Texan thing where he would take a bottle of Coca-Cola and jam the peanut shells into it for the salt, I guess. That was like a thing he had grown up with. And then he had like a whole room of amazing pinball machines that were all designed by his wife, Candy, that had the casts of all his shows. I mean, he really knew how to live it up right. He also was so exacting. He would have handwritten notes with turned down pages on every script. And mind you, at a certain point, he had like 9 shows on the air. And he just was so detail oriented. And he used to always say to me, the key to television is attention to detail. A lot of people might not remember, but I thought he was absolutely hilarious. He had such a winsome personality. He was definitely a titan, and he was somewhat intimidating to people, but he was also so egalitarian and great. I was his assistant as my first job there before I ended up helping him, being one of the heads of development on 90210 and Melrose. But when I was first answering his phones, he would say to me, get me the head of current programming at X network. And if that person wasn't available, he'd so happily talk to their assistant, who was just completely like a deer in the headlights. But he used to always say that classic adage of, well, you better be nice to them on the way up because you'll meet them on the way down. And he was so genuine about that. I always really took that lead from him.
Danielle, they're talking about Darren Spelling, and now we have Jessica Klein talking about Steve Wasserman.
He was a crier and a laugher, and in the show and in life, and he was also a more is more kind of person. This was not somebody who was. It's funny you say that he was well dressed, because that came later in life. Steve was it was funny hearing you talk about the theme song. One night, I don't remember how this happened, but Steve used his own money to pay for a time on a mixing stage somewhere, and to get John Davis to sit with us, because he persuaded me to write the lyrics to the 90210 theme song. And he hired somebody to sing it, and we recorded it with John, and it was going to be a whole big thing, except it wasn't a whole big thing, and the tape went into a pocket somewhere, and nothing ever came of it. I don't know whether he even told anybody about it. Did he tell you, Chuck? Did he tell you, Larry?
This is no. I want to hear it now. This is the lost tapes of Steve Wasserman.
I want to hear the song.
I want to hear the song. We're friends, and we're running around Beverly Hills.
The thing about Steve, I remember Steve used to, we would write these episodes together. He'd write with Chuck. Lots of times when Steve would be lying on the couch, and he'd act the whole thing out, and I would just type, and he'd act it out, and then I'd say, okay, give me a minute. And there would be pages that then I would clean up. I'd give it to him and he'd say, yeah, this is great. It was from Steve that I learned that when a producer says to you, okay, I'm just going to give you the bad version, and they act out the scene, that when you're the freelancer or the writer on the staff or whatever, write down exactly what they say verbatim. Because if you give it back to them, they'll think that you're a genius, because you just wrote what they had in their head. But there's a picture of the outside of the studio, and they had painted over the door, one of the back doors that opened up, Wasserman and Sons for something. And there's Steve standing in with his leather jacket outside, and that to me that's Steve Wasserman. But, we spent 7 years on the show, and it was, we had some good times and we had some terrible times. But it was our marriage and our job. And it was a family drama and a workplace drama for us. 90210 was very important to Steve Wasserman, and thank you very much for remembering him here. I'm sure he's smiling somewhere, because he certainly remembers all of you.
Very nice. And then, of course, Chuck, we have Betty Reardon talking about Paul Wagner, who was integral in Beverly Hills 90210.
He was a fixer. And he knew how to deal with people. I think the cast looked at him as a father figure, somebody who could mediate, somebody who could give them advice. and he was good with management in that he knew what they wanted and needed and knew how to talk to the cast and get them to do, the cast and the crew, and get them to do what needed to be done. He was good at holding your hand, telling you, he always told the truth. You knew if he was telling you something that was correct. And he cared about people, and he cared about the people that he worked with, and he wanted them to succeed. And he kept everybody congenial. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why the cast and crew are still friends. They still keep up with each other. And the 10 years, they were family, and they still feel like they're family. That was because of him.
Very nice. Now it's going to get a little bit tougher. So here is our friend Josh Taylor speaking on Luke Perry.
Luke and I hit it off right from the get-go. I remember the first day I was on the set, and we were sitting there getting to know each other, sitting at the picnic table there for lunch. We were on vacation, and we just, I don't know, it was just right away, and I really liked him so much. I attended the memorial. It was wonderful. It was great to hear some of his old friends that he grew up with talk, and it fit in to the man he became as the guy I knew on the day I met him on 90210, and he was just an extraordinary guy, and damn it, way too young, and he had a lot more things to do, both acting wise and society wise. He was a class act. I said at the time, damn, I didn't realize I'm starting to, as cool as Dylan McKay was, Luke Perry was even cooler. There was a goodness about him. He just had a thing about him that was incredibly special, and not just as an actor, as a human being. And wow, the more I talk about it, the more I realize how deep that is. I remember a few scenes. I do remember one of our favorites toward the end was this scene where we sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" together, and we just laughed our behinds off. Listen, we would crack each other up singing "Take me out to the ball game." You know, he was such. Oh man, I didn't realize. God, he was incredible. He was just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And now that I'm flashing back to the bottom line, is I came to respect him so much, and I came to really consider him a friend. And even though, we didn't see each other, I think we ran into each other once after that period of time, I never stopped thinking of Luke as a friend of mine. And hopefully, and I do probably think that he did the same thing, but it just, there's a really deep, wonderful spot inside me that contains Luke Perry.
Very nice stuff. Now, this is going to be a bombshell for a lot of people that are just watching this, but someone else is going to come on here and talk about Luke Perry, and we haven't seen her in a very long time. Hello, Noli.
Noli.
Hi.
Hi, Noli. How are you? I've seen you since you were like...
Hi, Pete. Nice to meet you. Larry.
It's great to see you.
Hustle, you could be an investigative reporter or private detective.
I know. Thank your husband so much. I kind of finally found his law firm and went through that.
But yeah, it was all worth it to see your face. It's amazing to us. I mean, you brought, we've been looking back at these episodes and just looking at your work, as a young girl, you were doing it and you were so integral in it. I think there's so many questions we're going to ask you once Pete goes it, but it's just great to have you here.
We are going to dive, for everybody who's watching this, we're going to dive deep with Noli in a couple of weeks, right? We're going to do Hazardous to Your Health. You're going to come join us. And David Hayward, who you guys all saw earlier, is going to be on that with us.
And James Whitmore.
Now, Noli, you were so young when you came into Beverly Hills 90210. First question, what was your experience like on that show?
Well, when the show first started, I was pretty young. I think I was maybe in 3rd grade. So, Brenda was like losing her virginity. I wasn't allowed to watch. But by the time I was in season 4 and season 5, so by the time I was on it, I had seen the show. But I wasn't like a super fan because I just grew up in the industry and I thought like actors were just normal people like me. I was super excited because it was a group of young, cool people. And I was a junior high. It was like 12 maybe when I was on the show, 12, 13. So it was really fun for me. And the girls especially were so awesome. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. They were so nice to me. I remember like Jennie would come in my dressing room. She'd like look at my yearbook and like pick out the cute boys, or Tori's dressing room was right across from mine. So she would talk to me about what she was doing when she was my age. I think she was actually trying to corrupt me, really. She was so fun. Everybody was so nice, really. Playing video games backstage, all the fun things. Yeah.
Well, now the tough part, Luke Perry.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Well, he was one of the nicest people I ever worked with. Not just worked with, but in life. And everything that everyone has said about him is true. He was one of the kindest people. He was so sweet, so kind, so generous, so welcoming. He was really protective of me, and he treated me like I really was his little sister. And he was also really funny and fun and goofy. He was a lot of fun. He would do things like if he was off camera and it was my close-up, he would just try so hard to make me laugh and make me break scene, and I was not having anything to do with it. He would ad-lib a lot, and I was always like, I'm just here to do my lines. Yeah.
It's so good to see you after all these.
I was wondering, when you were doing the show, did you realize where the story was going, that there was a scam with Suzanne and Kevin, or did you have any sense of that?
I sort of always did. And I think that children and animals, they can sense when something's off, right? They can smell BS. And even I feel like Carrie, who played my mom, she and I had a real relationship. I thought that was true, but I think that Erica always sensed that something was off. And it was in the writing. So there would just be like little bits they'd throw in here and there, and you kind of think, well, maybe, but then they'd reel you in. And I think that the relationship between Erica and Dylan really that made the audience believe in the family and not the scam.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was a scam.
I'm curious, Noli, if you ever did feel, I know Erica and Dylan were brother and sister. Did you kind of feel that with Luke as well? A little brotherly?
Yeah. I mean, he always treated me like I was really his little sister. He was super protective. He was always trying to help me out, whether it was on set or in real life. And he would also just totally, I remember, because I was in junior high, he would say stuff to me like, are you shaving your legs now? And I was so embarrassed, like, oh my God, leave me alone.
Yes. There's a lot of episodes we can cover with you, and we'll do that. But I want to let everyone know, Todd H. made this beautiful tribute to Luke Perry. If you thought the first one was touching, wait till you see this one. Noli, thank you so much for being here. We're going to see you in a couple of weeks.
That'd be great, Noli.
Thank you.
You look beautiful. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's not me they're coming out to see. It's this character that I play. Yeah, you know, a year ago I was shoveling asphalt, and a year from now I could be doing it again.
Luke is a super supportive, loving, stand-up guy.
What a genuine, classy young man.
One of the gentlest souls.
He was a very singular human being. I just adored him.
He was a wonderful man.
He had that quality that certain people have where when you feel like you're talking to him, he was 100% focused on you.
He did not have a bad bone in his body. He was just the kindest, most gracious, humble, funny. He was absolutely the best. I absolutely adored him.
We got to see each other one last time. It was the same Luke, the same amazing, loving, kind, funny, crazy Luke.
Luke was a writer's dream. He pushed you to do better, and then he delivered on screen. It was a wonderful collaboration.
Luke just wanted to go. He wanted to go. He wanted to act. He wanted to tell this story. He was an artist, and he went for it in that show. He was beautiful. He was beautiful.
He loved the work. He loved being an actor, and he loved finding the best he could in a scene. And
you know, he committed to things, and he went for it, and he wasn't afraid to just go for it.
He always was down to earth. He really was a serious actor.
He was just so thoughtful. I mean, everything he did, he really worked on. He thought about. There was nothing casual in his work ethic.
Infectious energy, you know. He was just this incredible, warm, like generous guy.
You know, I went into the makeup trailer and Luke was there. And usually he and I would share some banter, we'd talk, and I could see he was already in the moment. He was already preparing for what was coming up. And I was like, wow, you know, it was really, really amazing. And so I think he inspired everybody around him.
Luke was in the moment with every moment played. He was living and breathing this, wanting it to be something that we'd be talking about 30 years later. And he made it so.
He was a really, really good actor, but being an actor, I don't think was the be-all and end-all of his life. He was a good man.
I asked him something like, well, so, you know, what are you going to do with all this money you're making? And he said, oh, I'm going to buy my dad a truck. Oh, my God, this kid, he's so grounded.
And it was just that selfless quality that he had, that he wanted to just celebrate everybody else's joy.
While I was waiting to do my screen test with Tori that day, I was given one of the dressing rooms. As I was going in there, Luke sort of pulled me aside and said, hey, you know, I know this is like, it's pretty stressful, but you're going to kill it. It gives me shivers thinking about it, you know, that he would just take the time to do that.
Luke Perry was very, very friendly with me, and we got on very well while I was working. He was a good support.
Luke, knowing his background, to be who he was and to be as humble and kind and generous was astounding. You say his name and I tear up. He was just an incredible human being.
He fought so hard to look like the guy who loved horses all the time. He wanted everybody to know he was the real guy, but he didn't need to do that because he just was the real guy.
Such a lovely, charming, wonderful human being, you know, so this series, like, you just miss him.
Amazing. He was amazing.
I know he is deeply missed by so many.
He's missed.
He was a really special guy. People that got a chance to know him, they're lucky.
He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he was a warm, kind, loving guy. Had it all.
He was a miracle of a person.
When my time here is up, I don't want to look back and see that I didn't do anything. You know, and by that I mean I didn't have any effect on anything else. I see a lot of people that let their life happen to them, and I want to happen to my life. I don't want my life to happen to me.
Really nice. I can't say enough as a fan.
Good job, Todd.
Yeah, Todd, wonderful work. I can't say enough about just Luke Perry as a fan, guys. You know, I remember we had Brian on here, and he said that there are times when he just thinks about Luke. And then Josh Taylor also said that. And I think as a fan, there are times when I just think about Luke, a scene, a thing, and very touching. I mean, I know you guys had some beautiful things to say about him in the video. Do you want to say anything else, Larry?
Well, story-wise, the one story I'll tell fairly quickly here is Chuck allowed me to write that has just to our health episode, which goes to Mexico, and I kind of added this whole pirate stuff to it, to kind of imbue it with some stuff, and Chuck encouraged me. And so I actually had in the climax a sword fight, and I remember going to have to talk to Luke about the script, and I always thought the sword fight was going to be cool, so I had no idea, but I was worried that Luke would think it was really dumb or whatever. And he went through the stuff with me, and he gave me a couple of notes, and he didn't mention the sword fight. So I did something I don't normally do. I figured I'd ask him. I said, "So the sword fight's okay?" He said, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Oh, very, very cool. Chuck, do you have any moments like that with Luke?
Yeah, about 5 years worth of that. It was the morning calls where he would discuss what he's doing that day, and nobody cared more. Nobody gave more to it. And I know when I left the show, he wrote on the cast signed a script, and his is the one I remember. He said, you and I, we sparred a lot, and I'd go through it again in a heartbeat.
That's awesome.
And it meant a lot. And I felt the same way about Luke. I only saw him a few times afterward. We had a party here in Venice with my kids. You met my daughter Lindsay, for those who are watching, and the other kids were here, and they all grew up on the set, and they wanted to see the cast. And so Jennie brought over her daughters, and Jason and Gabrielle Carteris, and Luke was here. And I did not know if Luke was going to show, and I hadn't seen him except in a rabbit uniform, and once as a little league coach briefly. And he and I really connected over politics. He was very astute, and he was very close to Sherrod Brown, and we both thought he was the senator from Ohio. And Sherrod Brown's father was his doctor growing up, and that's how kind of Luke was. If you were related to him in any way, you were a friend for life, and I hope you considered me that.
I do think so. Listen, guys, we're wrapping up. I want to tell everybody we have 31 episodes of the Beverly Hills 90210 show, videocast, podcast. You can stream it on YouTube. You can get all of the episodes wherever you get podcasts if you prefer to drive and listen to it. And we have a lot more coming up down the line. So stay tuned to us, and we will always keep you what's going on. I wanted to say to both of you, I am so thankful for this opportunity to do this with you. The last couple of weeks, I felt like I might have been in the writer's room at 90210 for a minute as we were plotting and planning this
super show.
Yeah.
You still have one more thing to show, though, right?
Absolutely. We're not going to go out on a. You should know if it's going to be. We're not going out on a memorial field.
Chuck, I think it's really important to say you fought for this show. The first 5 years, every which way. The cast knows it. The crew knows it. You fought for this show. The reason why we're all celebrating is because of that fight that you went through, whether it be the network or whatever came to your plate. You were always fighting on behalf of the show, and as of this moment, still fighting for the music and all that stuff. And I just appreciate your fight. I'm so thankful, and to see you be a part of this with you has just been absolutely a blessing for me. And Larry taking the road down the road less traveled, maybe with some of those great stories that we never would have seen. The fans, of course, appreciate that. And this goes out to like Jessica and Karen and Chip and every other writer going all the way to season 10. I'll even give some props and love there because they made our world pretty important. We talked a lot about that earlier. And I want to also say my wife, Christina, made me even a bigger super fan on this show. And this has been a little bit of a love letter to her. So absolutely love you. And thank you for encouraging me to do this podcast. Now, we are not going to end on that. We were talking about characters and where they went, right? So we're going to end on this person who is still out there.
Hello, Kelly. I'm supposed to wish you and all your friends a happy anniversary or something. Well, happy anniversary. I hope you're happy now. Oh, Kelly, why did you lose faith? You know, my good friend Jeffrey in New York, rest his soul, he's dead now. Before that whole Dylan double-cross fiasco, had told me about a real estate magnate in New York who was looking for a new wife. I should have taken his offer, except he had a reputation for not paying. So when Dylan came in, I thought, well, okay, we'll go for this one, because you were special, Kelly. But that fellow Donald, he was really looking for a soulmate, and I thought perhaps you could have been the one. You could have been the first lady, Kelly, but it wasn't to be. I hope you're happy now.
That is so crazy.
Alan Toy is so amazing. Thank you, Alan Toy, for
Alan
that.
Alan Toy
Alan,
gets the
thank you,
last
Alan.
word. Yes.
Yes, he
Hey,
does.
don't forget to plug my website.
Oh,
which are
I'm sorry. Hang on. Wait, hold up. Hey,
Since we are plugging everyone's
we
stuff.
are plugging a lot of things. Before we leave here, where is it? LarryMullin.com. This is Todd H.
Todd H. Yes.
Todd H.
What great editing. Yes.
The Beverly Hills 90210 Hunts. That was really, really great. What else do we have here? I don't even have LarryMullin.com, but it's just
it's very simple. LarryMullin.com.
LarryMullin.com.
There you find all the stuff there, all my books.
And we have so much merchandise at Beverly Hills 90210 Show.
I need more. I need more. Well, we did it, Chuck. We did it.
Realize everybody is selling something. Everybody's selling something but one person.
That's
oh, you sold it. No, you sold your daughter.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys.
Okay, guys. Okay. Show. We got it in at 7:30. We thought it 3.5 hours. You guys did a great job. It was so much fun doing this. It's we can all go back to our normal lives now. And
right.
Wow.
Thank you, Peter. That was
thanks, Peter. Thanks, Melanie. Thank you, Melanie.
And Melanie and Lily and Connie and all the people that usually help us out every week. Thank you very much. Sherry Weiss, who interviewed somebody.
We haven't seen that one yet. We could, the Nick stuff. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So now Wednesday, we're not going to be live. This was a lot of work. So Wednesday, we recorded 2 really awesome episodes for everybody. One with Tom Victor, who was a production designer. He talked all about the sets. I mean, I was obsessed with that conversation. And then also Larry and Perry Samerton and I, who's going to be with us more regularly now, which is very exciting. We talked with Molly Campbell about 90210 fashion. So that's a really fun one too. So make sure Wednesday, we're going to drop both of those episodes for you, and we'll catch you soon. We'll be back live on October 14th when we're talking about hazardous to your health, and Noli will be there, and David Hayward will be there, and James Whitmore Jr. will be there. And you never know, given this show, who else might pop up. So
right for Tiffany.
Thank you. That's what I was referring to. Yes.
Tiffany, I think it's Tiff. I haven't said anything about it's time, Tiff. Come on, come on, talk to us about hazardous to health.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Go now. Thanks, everybody. Happy anniversary.
Bye. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye-bye.